want to destroy the hustler narrative are the ones who are telling us William Ruto is not a hustler because he's not a poor man. A hustler is not a poor man. Do you understand? A hustler is a hard-working Kenyan who is ready to work hard and do the right things, wake up early, sleep late, do the right things, and climb the economic ladder.
He also said leadership does not require a certain level of education, appearing to criticize the law requiring MCAs to have degrees. Now, ODM leader Raila Odinga took his Azimio la Umoja campaigns to various parts of Eastern Nairobi with a message for Kenyans to register as voters. Speaking in Kamkunji, Odinga also promised to put in place strategies to reduce the cost of living if he is elected president next year. In pointing out that the BBI plan still exists, Odinga referred to some of the proposals that are in the BBI, such as uplifting small business owners through lending and giving young people exemption from education loans to enable them develop themselves.
Wale ambao wanaanzisha biashara wanapewa mkopo pesa sawasawa na serikali. Na wale ambao wako na deni ya elimu hiyo inafutuliwa mbali. Kwa sababu taifa letu bado liko katika hali ya ufukara. Tuko na watu wengi katika jamii yetu ambao wanaishi risabuni na mijini. Urban poor.
The confusion within Ford Kenya is temporary and there is nothing to fear. The party's chairman Ferdinand Wanyonyi said everything will be handled and that the party members should not have any fears. After meeting with the party members, Wanyonyi urged members who had defected from the party to return and strengthen the party. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
If I'm found guilty, there is no problem. I'm willing to serve. I have no problem. Jails are meant for human beings.
They say a society gets the leadership it deserves. If you have a corrupt, crooked and rotten society like we have in Kenya, then of course they will get that kind of a leadership.
I think the president should dissolve parliament. That's the best solution at this moment in time. Dissolve parliament.
All of you go home.
Yes, we all go home.
How are we encouraging other people who might have new and creative ideas? Young people who are making money without any government help. They are just buying their own bundles. They are going on TikTok and making money. KRA is coming after them.
I've been in parliament for 15 years. We have been unable to pass the gender law. And yet no presidential candidate is talking about it now. Because we are fake. The truth is, all the men refused to vote for that law.
What did Sonko do to Pumwani from maternity hospital?
Yeah, he
with
cleaned
his
it up.
own money.
Cleaned it with his own money. That was him as an individual.
Yeah. And I did not say he was cleaning his own money. I was saying he cleaned
Foot, mouth. Foot, mouth. Eric.
Okay.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
What does it look like this morning? Looks like it is building up already in certain parts of these Nairobi streets, but not too bad this morning because we see traffic only building up on Langata Road, at least for now. Getting into the city centre will not be too difficult this morning. Uhuru Highway, at least for this part of the morning, is free and clear without too much of an issue. Going out into the city from the Thika Superhighway won't be too bad either because it's just building up. Hopefully we'll not see the madness that was on Thika Road yesterday, but one can only hope, isn't it? All right, coming off the Southern Bypass onto Langata Road also is a breeze, not too bad. Getting to that roundabout at the Timor. Bagathi Way, which is your go-to road on most days, is also free and clear now. All right, hopefully it doesn't get too much stick here, but we haven't gotten into traffic hour just yet, just a few minutes past 6 o'clock. We'll see what it looks like in the rest of the day. Help us out to be the traffic eyes. SpiceFMKE on Twitter, that's how you can get in touch. Talk to us on text, 40127. Let's keep things moving this Thursday morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Yes, good morning. It's 9 minutes after 6. A very, very good morning to you on this 14th day of October 2021. It's the 14th. You know what that means? Do you, Ndu?
It's the 14th. That means, you know what? Fuel prices. Dun, 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 dun.
No, I don't actually. What does the 14th mean? Apart from it
14th of every month, in this country at least, is when you get to know if your fuel prices will increase or decrease. What you've been paying for the last month.
Oh. But I thought they increased them just the other day.
Yeah, but that was the other 14th of the last month. This is another 14th of this month. It's
And
every
Parliament has
14th
done
of
nothing yet.
every month.
All those things that are before Parliament,
Are
they are still
before them.
proposals.
And they're still meeting to discuss them.
Yeah.
And in deep committee meetings.
Yes.
Discuss them.
Yes.
Burning the midnight oil.
Yes.
Okay.
Or burning something, that's for sure.
So you know for sure that the government, the National Treasury, has already fully-used the money that we put in a fund for cushioning consumers. So no money. You also know for a fact that the global oil prices are on the up and up. Fact. You also know for the fact that taxes are the same. Fact. So.
And the leaders are the same.
Facts.
And their thinking is the same.
Facts. So, this afternoon, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority will do the job that it has been given to do. Yep. And we will leave. Not for long, though. We'll be receiving 6K soon.
You're looking forward to it, eh?
Yeah.
6,000 shillings.
6,000 a month. Pana pesa kidogo.
Pana pesa kidogo.
Hey.
Right.
Serikali inalipa wewe. 6,000. Anyway, let's begin the conversation with the COVID-19 in numbers after we say hello to CT Muga.
Good morning, CT.
Morning, Du. Morning, Eric.
Good morning. Good to see you.
How are you today?
Very well.
Good.
Yes.
I'm also well.
Very good. Ndu?
Yeah.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, when was that photo taken?
Which one?
That
This
one? Yeah.
Yesterday.
Hey.
Yes, yesterday the photograph was taken in the house.
Photograph.
That's yesterday's photo?
Yes, this is yesterday's photo because I know that was yesterday's shirt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so COVID in numbers.
Hey, chukuna. Okay, so we're looking at a slight increase in COVID cases in the country. 170 new cases, 213 recoveries. There are calls to continue, as we know, with vaccines. And it's important for us to give these numbers on a daily basis so that we can understand where we are. More importantly, right now, to give the numbers of vaccinations that are occurring, or rather, being administered in the country, with that goal of 5.8 million vaccines having been administered by the 20th of October. We've got 6 days to go. And if we look at what has been done so far in a minute, we still have 7.5 million vaccines in the country, right? Rather, 7.5 million vaccines have come into the country, all right? 4.2 million of those have been administered. And we're looking now at 4% of the adult population of Kenya having been vaccinated already.
That's full dose or at least single shot?
At least a single shot, right? Proportion of... Okay, no, it's complete. it's the percentage of adults who have been fully vaccinated.
Okay.
All right. So 4,273,664 is where we are right now. Remember, the goal is 5.8 million, so about 1.6 million shy. About 1.6 million shy of the goal. Again, even if we are, unless we are vaccinating 200,000 people a day from today, not relenting until the 20th of October, that 5.8 million goal has flown out the window. So this is what we're looking at right now. Vaccines are available. Again, the call is to ask people to come out and get vaccinated. Confirmed number of cases in the country now, 251,483, with 5,198 deaths. Comparatively, still low numbers in Kenya, still low numbers around most of the countries on the African continent. But still, unfortunately, some very sad and heavy stories from those who were not able to access the healthcare that they needed in COVID times. I want to tell you really quickly about the World Health Organization and what they're doing. They are saying that there's a new group that has been formed by the WHO, maybe the last chance to find the origins of the virus. So, a task force, don't you just love that word? Maybe the last chance to find the origin. It has nominated 26 experts to join the body, the Scientific Advisory Group on the Origins of Novel Pathogens. More than a year and a half since the virus was detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan, the question of how it emerged still remains unclear. Now, this team will consider if the virus jumped from animals to humans in Wuhan, markets, or leaked in a lab accident. China has strongly refuted the second theory, which is that it leaked in a lab. All right. February, a WHO team tasked with investigating the origins flew to China and concluded that the virus had probably come from bats, but that more work was needed. So, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus said the investigation had been hampered by lack of data and transparency from China. Okay. The proposed members now of this new team included 6 experts who had visited China as part of the previous team. Aside from COVID-19, this group, called SAGO, will also look into the origins of other high-risk pathogens. And Tedros has said understanding where new pathogens come from is essential for preventing future outbreaks. But they're saying we're not going to set up another task force. We're not going to do this again. If these folks don't find the origins, we're going to shut it down and continue with our management of COVID.
We'll just say...
we don't know. It's one of those X-files.
Okay.
It would be an X-file then, in terms of the origins of COVID. After this, if they don't find the origins true, we're not doing it again.
So the last attempt said probably came from a bat.
Yes.
But further investigation required.
Data inadequate to be able to conclude.
So they need to investigate by gathering a couple of bats, holding them in police cells for 14 days.
And test, and then hopefully they don't walk out unnoticed.
That too.
Yeah. Or fly out in this case.
Okay. It's 16 after 6. We're live streaming the show on SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And we'd like you to say hello if you're online. Say hello to us on this lovely Thursday morning. It's a good day. It's just the 14th. So same price of fuel. Tomorrow will be a different story. But yeah, we'll be here still, God willing. Let's take a break, take a look at the weather, and then we look at the headlines shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Were you born for the camera? Are you the presenter with the most? Well, get ready because we're on the lookout for the freshest TV presenters there are. So if you think you got the goods, jump right on because you could be the next face of KTN Home's Straight Up Show. We are looking for one male and female presenter, aged between 20 years and 25 years, with a social media presence across any of the social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and or YouTube. A must for you to like the KTN Home social media pages, and you must be fluent in English, Swahili, or Sheng. To participate, post your TV presenter audition video on KTN Home social media handles, that is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and remember to use the hashtag #StraightUpTalentSearch. Could it be you? The stage awaits.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgia.
It's cloudy in Nairobi this morning. Some people would deem it cold at 15 degrees, highs of 24 and lows of 14. Cloudy conditions at 15 in Nakuru, highs of 25. We'll see highs of 23 in Nyeri, where it's already raining at 15, and it'll come down to lows of 14. In Eldoret this morning, clear conditions at 13, highs of 24 today. And in Mombasa, the sun is going to come out at some point, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Malindi this morning is mostly sunny already at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Mostly cloudy conditions at 20 in Kisumu, highs of 29 and lows of 19. In Kakamega, it is mostly cloudy at 16, highs of 28 today and lows of 14. Into Kampala, it's mostly clear at 20, highs of 29 and lows of 19, while in Dar es Salaam, sunny conditions will rule the day at 22 currently, highs of 30 going through today. Johannesburg is clear at 19, highs of 29 and lows of 16, and it's mostly clear in Lagos for a change at 26, highs of 31 and lows of 25. Kinshasa will have mostly clear skies at 22, going to highs of 33, back down to lows of 22. Let's look out then into Beijing. It's sunny at 17 going into the afternoon, highs of 21 and lows of 12. In Paris, 4 degrees cutting into the winter, highs of 17 and lows of 4. London is cloudy at 13, highs of 17 and lows of 11. And New York is still Wednesday night. It's cloudy, however, at 20 coming into Thursday, likely to see highs of 21 and lows of 18.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
It is 20
Nairobi.
minutes after 6. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, and people are online from around the world. Who's online?
All right, so quite a number of people online this morning. Shamangwai, tell CT to get us a Kisi proverb.
I thought we did that a while back.
Bwana Ongwai, you tume proverb ya Kisi.
Abdir Kadir Abdallah says, good morning, tuned in from Komarok. And the Duke of Nandi is tuned in. To be precise, I haven't been understanding CT's proverb for the last 3 days. The Duke of Nandi said he doesn't understand. But okay. Evans Okalo says, I'm on and I do thank God, tuned in as usual. Good morning from County 001. 001. Is which one?
Mombasa.
Well done. Okay.
Mombasa.
Okay. Odero Jr. says, good morning from the Great Wall of Kino. Stanley, not a very good morning with the loss of Agnes Tirop. Indeed, it's a big gap for the family, for Kenya in the world of athletics. This is true, quite tragic. I'll be looking at details of that as well. Paul Omariba, good morning, my good people. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, tune in from Bamburi and locked in from Pumwani, waiting to clean somebody's money. Only Eric understands this. Okay. Amos Freeman, tuned in from Kimilili. Loud and crystal clear, he says, Kaptarakwa EMC. Good morning, tuned in. That's where Malimu Dominic is. Taveta at the border is where Mose is present from. You wake me up every day, Wycliffe Theo says. Well, good morning to you. David Kiaria from Subukia. Good morning to you too. Josh Wansogo tuned in from Nyamira County. Quite a number of people online today. Joseph Bothia, Timothy, Laban, Abiut. We see you guys. Good morning and thanks for tuning in.
Kila mtu. Very, very good morning to you. City, today's proverb?
Yes, this is actually a proverb translated from the Yoruba into English.
Okay.
I want you to say it in Yoruba, Biko. Okay,
no, they didn't provide.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can listen to the English one and then translate.
I don't speak Yoruba.
It just came with the translation.
Okay. You just try.
But I will look for a proverb that actually states what it's stating in English, in Yoruba. Then I will proceed to massacre the language. Okay?
Okay.
When you are given some stew and you add water, you must be wiser than the cook.
When you're given some stew
and you add water,
you
must be wiser than the cook.
Matusi ndogo ndogo asubuhi.
Kupwa, my friend.
It's profound, isn't it?
Indeed.
Sheesh.
Sent you.
Surely.
All right.
Come in peace.
Yeah, that's easy.
Mm.
We also come in peace.
We also come in peace. Hey, okay. Let's look at the newspaper headlines shortly. Do you have access to your Standard e-paper? It's only 20 bob daily. The Standard e-paper, for the unbeatable price of 20 bob daily, gives you access to premium content on standardmedia.co.ke. You get free Sudoku, you get free crossword puzzles. You also get access to 10 days of Standard archives. Now, when you talk about 10 days of Standard archives, you're talking about over 100 years. Choose. Choose what you want.
Anything?
Yes. Go to the archives and choose what you want. Okay? So, let's look at the newspaper headlines.
Wow, there's a lot of heavy stuff going on, right?
For the first time. And it's bad news, but the headlines are not
political.
Yes.
Right. Wasn't good news. Not, I mean, on both the Standard and the Nation today. I'm not sure what the Star and others say right now.
The Star is good news.
Right? Okay, the Star is good news with some 6,000 shillings. Anyway, murder of a champ, unfortunately, was carried on the front page of the Nation today. Also carried in the Standard. I guess we'll look at some of these other stories as well. Young life cut short. Agnes Chebet Tirop, found yesterday dead in her home. She had everything to live for at the tender age of 25, with a blossoming athletics career ahead of her. But a cruel killer ended Agnes Chebet Tirop's dreams. The country and global athletics fraternity was in shock following news that the body of the long-distance runner had been found in her bedroom of her house in Iten in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Tirop had represented Kenya at the Tokyo Olympic Games only just 2 months ago. Looking at details of the story, star athlete Agnes Tirop had everything to live for, and it was all blown away. That was until a serial killer, which I immediately have a problem with. We don't know if it was a serial killer. And a serial killer, by definition, means somebody who has a habitual way of doing this. Anyway, stabbed her to death in circumstances that police are investigating. The body of the long-distance runner, who had just 2 months ago represented Kenya at the Tokyo Olympics, was found in the bedroom of her house in Iten. Her husband and coach, Emmanuel Rotich, is at large. Police say he is the prime suspect. Tuesday night, Agnes's father reported her missing at Iten police station. Police immediately commenced investigations to trace her whereabouts, according to KO North Police boss Tom McCorry. Between 8 and 9 a.m. the following day, the two families were startled when the athlete's husband called his parents, saying he had committed a heinous crime and sought God's forgiveness. Neighbors, friends, and family say Agnes and Rotich frequently fought. The two sought arbitration from family members on several occasions. The house in which they lived was locked when family members, friends, and police officers rushed there following the call from Mr. Rotich. After breaking into the house, police officers found the body on the floor of the bedroom. It had a stab wound in the neck. We have taken an assortment of objects from the house to establish if any was the murder weapon. The house was orderly, no indication that there was a struggle. We are reviewing the CCTV footage in the house to help us unravel the killing. This is again according to Mr. Rotich. According to the police boss, McCorry. So they've said that Mr. Rotich is the prime suspect. Remembering he is the husband and the coach, and he's been missing, and also due to the confession that he had reportedly made. We call on the public to seek advice whenever they feel disturbed instead of resorting to violence. This is what McCorry said. Hundreds of athletes and Iten residents thronged the house into which Agnes and Rotich moved about a year and a half ago as the news of the killing fast spread in town. Police officers used tear gas to have to disperse a crowd who were demanding answers.
So, it's reported that this couple had, marital issues.
Yeah.
They'd constantly squabble, multiple times should seek refuge at her training camp and not stay at home. They didn't receive visitors often at their home and all. So, this is one angle. I'm still back at that second paragraph of this story. That a serial killer stabbed Agnes to death.
Yeah.
Where did that one come from?
Exactly.
I'm
It's
not
sticking out
getting
like
it.
a sore thumb for me. Because I said,
I don't get it.
At all. Where that
Because
conclusion,
if the
where did it come
police
from?
are saying that their prime suspect is the husband whom they're looking for,
Are they saying the
Are they alleging that the husband is a serial
is
killer?
the nation alleging that the husband is a serial killer? And then there's nowhere else in the story that talks about
A serial killer.
Yeah.
No, there's a
problem here.
No. Reporting, this is a mix-up.
Yeah.
I can understand it being a mix-up, but a serial killer, by definition, is somebody who, for this, is habitual. That you would have been able to trace it, such as this other individual who walked out of the police, which we'll look at in a short while, who walked out of a police station, confessed to having done this serially, as in you can find numbers. In this case, it's very different. Could have been crossed lines, sure, but it's a bit of a dangerous.
This is so sad for this lady.
Very sad. 25 years old. I mean, she had the world at her feet.
Yep.
Literally.
She participated at the cross-country championships in Cape Town, where she won a silver medal in 2012, bagged a bronze medal in the 5,000 meters race at the World Junior Championships in Barcelona that same year, 2012. 2013, she's in the team that participates in the World Cross-Country Championships in Poland. She again bags a silver medal in the junior category, her team winning the title. 2014, she's in the team that represents the country in the Africa Cross-Country Championships in Kampala, Uganda, wins the gold medal. And then she breaks records. She's basically the world champion, junior champion in cross-country.
This is truly unfortunate.
It's a very sad
tragic,
story.
Sad.
It's a tragic, yeah.
But it reminds me of the stories that revolved around prominent people dying from the effects of cancer. There was a tumultuous uprising among prominent people in this country regards to cancer and what must be done for cancer, what we must look at, how we must attend to this. Do you hear even a squeak right now?
Nope.
You really don't want anyone to die. Neither do you want a situation where children are killed or you have serial killers walking on the loose, people disagreeing and somebody ends up being killed, stabbed. This mental health issue is something that is being treated as though it's the building of the roads that Kenyans endure. This situation that we are speaking about is only going to escalate until the government takes it seriously. Tokenism and statements about the things that they plan to do and wish to do and hope they will do will not cut it. We have a problem, a really serious problem. Now, before it becomes a pandemic, before it becomes epidemic, if I may use the word, not even surely something ought to be done. How many cases do you think we do not hear of or are not reported of crimes where you could call it crime of passion?
Yeah.
Where people die, and I'm saying needlessly.
Sure.
If people go to war and they die, we understand that war people tend to die.
And we cannot divorce it, no pun intended, from the mental instability that takes place. And I honestly think that there is a thinking that you have to be crazy naked on the streets for somebody to deem you mentally unstable, or that you're suffering from some kind of mental incapacity. That's not the case. That there could be able-bodied people walking around doing their jobs on a daily basis, but have issues and would turn out into something terrible a few hours later. And I think debunking this is extremely necessary. By the time somebody is taking another's life, this is just a step beyond the instability here. We can't run away from, true as you have said, CT, cannot run away from the fact that this is serious. This is serious.
You know, this thing, Ndu, it is, the seriousness is in the epic category. Yeah. What is the government waiting to see for them to understand the seriousness of what we're seeing?
You know, before we were saying, well, maybe they're waiting for more people to die. Well, it's happening now. This is what's going on now.
It's unfortunate. This is a very tragic story. It didn't have to end this way, especially because there are telltale signs along the way. It's 27 minutes to 7. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. So how are the roads looking like? Let's find out. Good morning.
"24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu acha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial *550*1# to read the Standard e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings from your telecom line, and stay up to date for a reliable source with over 100 years of experience with no additional data charges.
The opportunities are here. Project X, the biggest youth empowerment project in Africa for young creatives, is here. Are you a model, a fashion designer, or a performing artist? Then this is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register now for the opportunity of a lifetime by following @Opportunities Are Here on Instagram and the Opportunities Are Here on Facebook for more information and the registration link. Online selections begin on the 12th of October and registration closes on the 22nd of October. The Opportunities Are Here is a project by the Ethical Fashion Initiative in partnership with the European Union. Project X is co-produced by KTN Home and Vibes Radio.
All right. It looks like traffic hour is actually going to start a little bit earlier today. We're looking at some traffic already building up on the Langata Road today. This is coming off of the Southern Bypass into Nairobi West. That whole area there also building up as people are trying to then approach Aerodrome out towards Uhuru Highway. Now is the time to get, don't tell anybody. Now is the time to get on Uhuru Highway. There's nobody there. Get on it really quick. Get into the city center before everybody else wakes up. Do it now. Don't say I didn't tell you, because it's free and clear, at least right now. Okay, where are we seeing some more traffic? Thika Super Highway is also looking pretty good. Now it's time to sneak off Kiambu Road. Nobody's on Kiambu Road. Look, this is the morning of secrets. Nobody's on Kiambu Road right now. Get onto it. Get off into the city center before we get into traffic hour. It's building up a little bit on the Thika Super Highway, especially around the Pangani underpass. Then getting into the city center, that looks all right. Coming off Outer Ring as well on the eastern side of the city, that looks pretty good. North Airport Road, which was the absolute mess at around this time yesterday, is also free and clear. Somebody said something and the rest of us didn't know. So this is time to be on the roads. Be careful while you do. We'll check back in a short while and see what it looks like. But we know that folks will be awake in about half an hour or so and on the roads in full force. Use it now. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Get in touch there. Text on 40127.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
24 minutes to 7. So, this man, who is a suspected serial killer, he has said so himself. Masten Milimu Wanjala vanished from a police station on Jogoo Road. Milimu Wanjala was on Jogoo Road police station. Wanjala is reported to have made it through the Jogoo Road police station's report office without attracting the attention of the 10 officers who were on duty on Tuesday night. News of his disappearance came to light yesterday morning when a new team of officers reported to work, raising questions on the police's handling of suspects in their custody. He was reported missing on the day he was to appear in court to answer to criminal charges related to the murder of at least 8 children whom he is accused of killing. After it was established that he was not in the cells, senior police officers at the station conducted a head count of all the inmates. Maybe he's not here. Maybe we may find his head.
Okay.
Count yourselves. Sermon number 1. The station bosses also examined the cells and at the end of the exercise established that Wanjala could not have escaped by drilling the walls or cutting through the ventilation grills.
These guys have been watching movies, haven't they?
It was clear he simply walked out of the cells through its doors. The question is, how did he manage to do this without catching the attention of the 2 officers manning the report office? A senior officer privy to the investigation says police opened a probe into Wanjala's escape from their custody. Officers from DCI and those from the Special Services Unit have launched a countrywide manhunt. How do they even know he left on Tuesday night?
I guess there's a roll call, and on Monday night he was there.
Yeah.
Monday morning, he was there.
Yeah. There's a morning and evening roll call, right? To check.
Listen. When Mariamu has come to take people to court,
the vehicle that takes people to court.
That's when they realize there's someone who should be going. He's not here. Senior officers say, let's do the roll call.
Because, okay.
Well, that's the only way you determine who's there and who isn't there.
They reviewed the station's OB and cell register in an effort to establish how the suspect disappeared. Police officers are supposed to update the OB and cell register every 12 hours or when a new team of officers is reporting to and leaving work. This exercise is known as handing over, and it involves physically counting the number of inmates in the cells and updating the same in the cell register, which is checked by senior officers at the station. During the process, officers on duty record in their OB their names and ranks and the time of reporting to and leaving work. They also record the names and details of suspects being booked into the cells and those being released from the cells. Sources familiar with these records yesterday told the Standard that Wanjala's name appears in the list of suspects who were physically counted on Tuesday evening when the new team took over. By Wednesday morning, when the new team was reporting to work, it was established that Wanjala did not respond when his name was called out by the duty officer. A report from Jogoo Road Police Station to Vigilance House Police Headquarters says Wanjala was established to be missing during this head count. When arrested, inform this station for collecting and inquiry. It's the alert that has been sent out countrywide. The police now believe that Wanjala could have sneaked out of the cells at around 9 p.m. when a group of suspects arrested for violating COVID guidelines were freed.
So he just joined the
Police
train.
believe that one suspect who had covered his head with a Maasai shuka and was released at the same time may have been Wanjala.
They didn't check?
During his stay at the police station, Wanjala made a habit of covering his head with a red shuka.
This Wanjala is a prudent person.
Sources say Wanjala, during his 21 days stay at the police station, had made friends with officers. He cut the image of a polite man. He had become very friendly. Hey.
I think he was polite, and I'm sure he was friendly. You know the two are not necessarily distinctly different. I mean, the fact that somebody kills people doesn't mean they're not polite.
Or that they're not nice.
Nice, no. It just means they're polite and nice and they kill people.
It was his way of endearing himself to the police officers.
Actually, it's his way of endearing himself to people.
Yeah.
Because somebody who can lure other people to the point where they become victims, they must have something about them that lures people to them.
Trustworthy.
Yes. It's the same story with con men. There's a very thin line between people who are salespersons, people who are evangelists, and people who are con men. A very, very thin line. I'm not being facetious.
They would all be in good company.
Yes.
Yes.
People who have the ability to convince others. Yes. People who have the ability to get you to understand and appreciate and believe what it is that they're telling you.
There's a lot that's not being said here in this story.
Eric, I'm actually happy that the police, it's been reported. It's a good thing.
Well, it had to come out. He was due in court.
Yeah. See, they could have just been surprised when he wasn't there in court.
That's the point. He was due in court, and he's in your custody.
Had it not been that he wasn't doing court, they wouldn't have figured out that he wasn't there.
That's what I'm saying. Are we really sure all these stories?
Oh, no.
It's a name. This register, there's names that are just handed over. So, okay, start with number 1, Wanjala, number 2, who else? You just keep handing over names.
Yeah. The freaky thing for me, however, is that this gentleman is then now out. We don't know how long he has been, but self-confessed to at least some of these which he's being charged for. And we already know that, again, serial killers normally, or anybody who does anything that you do serially, the chances of you repeating the same are very high. Scary part. And when we're looking at children, that his specialty of murder was children.
You know what you're saying? Yeah? It is very possible this guy did not leave the police cells on the day that is being said he did.
Yes. It's possible that he was gone earlier.
Because
this Tuesday night story, I'm not buying it.
To determine, actually, you need to ask yourself, what really is the flow of inmates in a
police cell? And this is Jogoo Road.
On a daily,
it's a busy
it's a busy place.
Busy police station.
Jogoo Road is busy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, people have been arrested, curfew, come, leave.
Sneezing,
Yeah, come, leave, you know? And in the same cell with them.
It's very easy for somebody to sort of like see the pattern and realize this one is not very difficult. Because he wasn't alone in the cell, was he?
No.
Yes.
Hey.
Right.
He's a bad blot. Anyway, this one. So, what are you looking at, City?
I am looking at an article that I can't actually understand. It's in the business daily, not daily business. On page 2 of the business daily, MPs probe ministries over 1.6 billion charge on unutilized loans. I'd like you to see if you can make head or tail of this. I was reading it, and what I think it means and what I'm reading, I don't. In short, I don't seem to understand.
You don't get it.
Yes.
Yes.
Parliament will probe all ministries, departments, and agencies of government that fail to draw down loan balances, forcing the Treasury to pay commitment fees worth 1.7 billion. You want to repeat that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one who didn't understand this. Parliament will probe all ministries, departments, and agencies of government that fail to draw down loan balances, forcing the Treasury to pay commitment fees worth 1.7 billion shillings. The government paid 1.657544758, that's 1.6 billion shillings, on commitment fees on loans not utilized, but loan agreements had been signed off as of June 30th, 2021. The National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee will investigate the use of borrowing to pay loan commitment fees. The lender usually charges commitment fee to a borrower whom it has agreed to extend credit as a way of guaranteeing the lender that the borrower will take up the funds. The inefficiencies in drawing down borrowing by the implementing government agencies have led to the loss of public funds and imprudent and irresponsible use of public money, contrary to the principles of public finance in Article 201D of the Constitution. This is what Garissa Township MP Aden Dueli said when he was seeking a statement from the Treasury. Does anybody understand this?
No. But can I...
At the drawing down...
commitment fee, forced to pay... No, I don't know. There's another story in The Nation, maybe that is linked to this one, right? Aden Duale wants the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Ukuyu Atani, compelled to explain why the ministry violated the law. Okay, this is something totally different.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
It's along the same lines.
No, it isn't. Just continue.
You continue.
Continue.
It was the same committee.
It's the same meeting. It's the same meeting.
And I will tell you why it's the same thing.
Okay. Violated the law by exceeding the country's debt ceiling by 40 billion without parliamentary approval. In a request for statement, he wants the finance CS to explain why the ministry violated the constitution. According to the information, total disbursed and undisbursed loans stood at 9.4 trillion by the end of June. The loans, the figures from the National Treasury show, exceed the 9 trillion shilling passed by Parliament in 2018. It is against this background that I seek statement from the committee chairperson on the total loan commitments, there we go, including a breakdown by lender and terms of repayment. According to the National Treasury, the nominal public debt stock, including guaranteed debt, stood at 7.7 trillion, about 69.07% of the country's GDP at the end of June. But even as the debt grows, servicing is proving to be a concern. In this financial year alone, the government plans to spend 1.17 trillion and now about 9% of the GDP on public debt servicing. He says the increase in debt servicing has surpassed allocations for development by 189%. And you violated the constitution by this. We want you to come and explain.
By the way, the last paragraph of this story reads, the committee is required to investigate whether the National Treasury has technically exceeded the set debt ceiling of 9 trillion without seeking new approval from Parliament and whether Kenya's public debt is sustainable.
Okay, so this is now the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same thing. That first...
yeah, but I still don't understand that first bit.
Yes,
who are these people being lent money? And why is the government paying this fee? Eric, you clearly understand this thing, Eric.
I don't get it. Let's just take a break. It's 12 minutes to 7.
Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
Have you seen them? Am I live?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say.
Thank you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Everyone was asking me what channel is SpiceFM.
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
you.
What
a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you. And it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
All right, it's 11 minutes to 7. So there's... Yesterday, government spokesman Colonel Cyrus Oguna addressed the media on the government's response to the national disaster that's unfolding in the country. And this is with regards to drought. So what did Colonel Cyrus Oguna say? The government has set aside 1.2 billion shillings to buy food supplies for Kenyans in 23 counties that are drought-stricken. I thought it was 2 billion before.
No, it's coming. The balance.
After tax.
Because initially I thought we were talking about 2 billion. Now
it was 2.
The government spokesman puts the figure at 1.2 billion.
Former devolution CS
Wamalo kept saying 2.
He said 2 billion.
Yes.
He said 2 so many times. That's why it's stuck in my mind. But remember, that was before tax.
No, so here there's some withholding tax.
Withholding tax. So it's now 1.6.
And VAT. Hey. He said the allocation will benefit counties likely to experience drought through November. Garissa, Isiolo, Kilifi, Kitui, Mandera, Marsabit, Samburu, Tana River, and Wajir are listed as counties with a high-risk drought, hence requiring more intervention. However, the drought status in Baringo, Turkana, Kajiado, Kwale, Laikipia, Lamu, Makueni, Meru, Taita Taveta, Tharaka Nithi, and West Pokot counties has been classified as moderate, while Embu, Narok, and Nyeri are low-risk areas. So he says, the European Union has given us 500 million shillings to mitigate the effects of the drought. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN has also given us 380 million shillings for the purchase of cattle feeds, while WFP has contributed 500 million to help in provision of assorted relief. That comes to 1.38 billion shillings. If I just look at EU 500, WFP 500, FAO 380. That is just those three organizations, 1.38 billion, and the government is 1.5 according to 1.2 according to Cyrus Oguna. Unless he says they've received 1.2 extra. He said the UN system in the country launched an appeal for local and international help amounting to 13.9 billion shillings after the president declared the ongoing drought a national disaster. We want to assure Kenyans that the government is fully in control of the situation and the plan for intervention beyond December 2021 is ready as the government continues to mobilize resources to mitigate the situation. So the interventions include upscaling the funds transfer project dubbed Hunger Safety Net, targeting Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit and Turkana counties by exceeding the targeted 100,000 households, receiving 4,500. He says the deployment of resources into the new year will depend on status of rains in the coming year. There's nothing new, by the way, that's in this story.
Nope.
Only thing is that the UN system in the country has launched an appeal for 13.9 billion shillings, right? Shiraila wants to give us 6,000. How much? What's the headline in the Star City?
The headline in the Star is precisely, you were prophetic about it, Raila.
Yeah.
How I will roll out 6 million to 8 million people.
6,000.
Sorry, did I say 6 million?
Yes,
you did.
Okay.
You're being aspirational.
Let me start again. Okay. Headline in the Star, Raila, I will roll out 6,000 to 8 million people.
Okay.
You know, the initial 6 million was wishful.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a Freudian slip.
Of course it was.
Okay, then it involves 25% budget cuts and savings from graft proceedings. Yeah.
Savings from graft proceedings.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. If you do the maths, 6,000 shillings for 8 million people. What's the amount?
It's some 4.8 billion.
Just do the maths.
I've done it now.
Take your time.
I've taken.
Okay, how much is it?
6,000 times 8
6,000 times how many families? 8 million people.
Yes, 8 million people, each getting 6,000 Kenya shillings.
Okay, so 6 by 8 is what?
48.
There you go.
Add 2 zeros on the end.
That's it.
No, I got it right the first time.
Yes, no.
My problem was you didn't take your time.
People shouldn't play with me now.
And then now the issue is, but this is a month, per month.
Yes.
Times 12.
Yes. It comes to a great deal of money.
Yes.
So essentially, we already know there's 2 billion we're losing. So it's only 2.8 billion we're looking for.
Maybe there's more.
Okay.
By the way,
so if this can be done, see, he talks to his brother right now.
As
They
in,
do
let's
those
release
things.
this money now.
They
You don't have
start
to wait
feeding
until
these
then.
people. Instead of sending households 4,500, scale this up to 6,000 already, because it can be done.
well, I think you need to understand that apart from just the 2 billion which I mentioned, this is me mentioning, it's not in the article. What the article mentions is that the program will integrate the current social protection program, such as Inua Jamii, which Raila stated consumes 37 billion annually.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that you understand this, all right? But also, there's a little detail of some of the expenditures of government. And those that are mentioned are these expensive trips, per diems, mandazis in office, samosas, that's my addition, they didn't write it, I'm done with that one, and inflated tenders. Meaning, they've catalogued the things that clearly contribute to a certain degree of excessive expenditure. These will be shaved off. And then you add it to already existing systems that seek to give to the poor. What I didn't see is how they're going to seal the loopholes. Because the moment you talk about more money being released,
if you know what those loopholes are, I mean, really.
Today. What are we talking about? It's like, all right, we're going to allow these folks keep doing their thing for the next 10 or so months. Then if you give me this position, thereafter we'll start to plug the holes. But right now, you know. Okay.
Mohammed Ali did that math, working with, so the 8 million people, it's 2,000 families, each receiving 6,000. 2 million families, each receiving 6,000. So that comes 6,000 by 2 million families by 12 months is 144 billion shillings. 144 billion shillings divided by the 2 billion shillings that we lose per day is 72. The government just needs to stop being corrupt for 72 days, and we can finance this thing for a whole year.
Feed the country's families.
For 72 days?
Only
Just 72 days.
That's almost 3 months.
Just forego corruption for 72 days. Because the corruption is government.
Yes. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Meaning, after 72 days, you can continue.
Yeah, continue.
And then again, we go on a fast for another 72 days, and we're able to cater for our vulnerable.
Yes.
Man, where won't you
But it's doable, isn't it? Well, yeah, thank you. It's very doable. We will talk to our leaders in Parliament and ask them if they can consider
If they can consider holding back for 72 days.
spreading the gospel also.
We're gonna feed some
And
2,000
those in
families.
government and our brothers and sisters who are in the procurement departments in government.
Yeah.
So just
KEMSA,
hold on a little
Ministry
bit,
of
folks.
Health.
We just have a small
Ministry
matter of
of-
feeding 2,000 families.
That's it.
Then we'll be all right.
72 days. That's it. Days, you said?
Yeah.
That's it.
Only 72 days.
That is 3
Just about 2 months.
No.
It's less than 3
12
months.
days. 2 months, 12 days, actually.
Good thing, isn't it?
It is 2.5 months.
Think about it as a term. With the shortened term, your kids are in school for just one term. In
Yes.
fact, before that, you would have gotten school fees. Then just wait until they finish that term. Then you can go back.
Then you go back.
So essentially, we are giving the corrupt in this country a timetable of how to be corrupt. Meaning,
a free pass
stop being
too.
corrupt for 72 days. Just 72 days. Just fast.
Yes.
Funga mshipi. Then let the vulnerable get their bit. Then continue what we are doing. And then again,
It's a harambe.
So how many times a year are we going to have this fast?
3
It's
would
just
be
a
good.
harambe.
Every quarter.
Let's
every quarter we just do 2.5 months.
Then breather, kidogo, 2.5 months.
Feed the people of the country, so that they don't die.
Yes.
And then you can get back to your business.
No, to balance it out nicely, just do it twice a year.
Twice a year?
Yeah, just twice a year.
Okay. Oh,
that is just about 5 months. Out of the 12 months in a year, just 5 months.
So you have money for 1 whole year, then again you do it so your money for the next year. So you don't have to...
No, we can finance other things. So for example, you saw the Secretary General of ODM is saying, Baba, punguza bei ya kanywaji. So we can finance those other things. Can give money now to other people. Fungua sherehe kidogo.
Build a few schools here and there,
No schools, no.
No?
No. It's cash. We're giving people cash.
School,
we are going to build school. That is something else. We're talking about cash.
We are not building schools. We are not giving counties more money. You just rule that out.
Give us money individually.
In the hand.
Yes. Let the Mwananchi decide what they want to do with their money.
Yeah, share for everybody.
Yes.
It's true. So they told Nigeria.
We are all dividing this corruption money, basically. That's what we are saying.
Give us ours.
Out of 12 months, just 5 months allocate to wananchi wa kawaida. Then the other 7 months, you guys, it's okay.
You
continue robbing us.
Yeah, you continue eating. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. In the Situation Room this morning, of course, is Eric Latiff, Ndu Okoh, and CT Muga. We'll be looking at more big stories in the newspapers in the next hour, and opening up the conversation also for you to participate. Good morning, 8:07 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire Dennis Aseto. 2 police officers have been arrested following the reports that alleged serial killer Marston Milimo Wanjala escaped from custody. Police in Nairobi have intensified their search with the hope that the suspect will be arrested and taken to court to answer to the charges against him. Wanjala, who confessed to killing 13 children in various parts of Nairobi and Bungoma County, disappeared from the Jogoo police station, Nairobi, in a controversial manner. Questions continue to be asked how Wanjala, who was detained for so long, disappeared from the police station. President Uhuru Kenyatta today is meeting his U.S. counterpart President Joe Biden at White House and are expected to discuss how to further promote democracy, civil rights and tackle climate change. In an interview with Citizen TV, President Kenyatta hinted at some of the agenda between them.
Well, first and foremost, just a further re-establishment of the strong ties between our two countries, a situation that I have pursued during my presidency, first with President Obama, then with President Trump, now with President Biden, and a desire and a need to strengthen our economic cooperation, our security cooperation, the fact that we are faced in some instances with common threats that we need to work together toward, and also to see how we can strengthen our trade and our investment linkages for the mutual benefit of our two nations.
According to a statement issued by White House, President Kenyatta and Joe Biden are expected to discuss in detail the Pandora Papers expose and the need to establish transparency in financial investments among various nations. Now, the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission has launched the registration of students as new voters in the ongoing voter registration exercise aimed at registering between 6 to 7 million new voters. IEBC Deputy Chairperson Juliana Cherera said young people will only be involved in leadership decisions next year if they register, statement supported by other commissioners at the University of Nairobi during the launch.
Kule mtaani tunasema IBC iko mtaani, lakini nataka leo munipatie slogan yenu. Tutasema IBC iko wapi? Iko chuoni.
It will be very, very sad to hear that the youth have actually taken a back seat. It is very, very sad. And therefore, I think it's the time to reflect. It's a time to wake up. It's a time to make this clarion call. It's a time to convince the other youths so that they can come in large numbers and register, knowing that if you do so, and then come next year, you will actually be responsible for determining your future.
The Electoral Commission has continued to be blamed for not having enough registration kits, reason why it has continued to record dismal numbers. To politics, and Deputy President William Ruto has advised his rivals not to incite Kenyans for their personal gains by misinterpreting a plan to uplift low-income Kenyans with a bottom-up economic model. In a meeting with supporters in Nairobi, Ruto said the initiative aims to empower Kenyans through industrialization to boost the national economy and empower every Kenyan to meet their needs.
The people who want to destroy the hustler narrative are the ones who are telling us William Ruto is not a hustler because he's not a poor man. A hustler is not a poor man. Do you understand? A hustler is a hard-working Kenyan who is ready to work hard and do the right things. You know, wake up early, sleep late, do the right things and climb the economic ladder.
He also said leadership does not require a certain level of education, appearing to criticize the low-recurring MCAs to have degrees.
Our position is that let everybody have a chance to run. Let the people decide. Education is very good. It is very good and it must count for something. Let it count by mimi ambaye niko na degree. Si namna hiyo. Yeah, na ule ambaye hana degree atajua vile ya kujitetea. Na akijitetea akushinde sasa problem ile.
ODM leader Raila Odinga took his Azimio la Umoja campaigns to various parts of Eastlands Nairobi with a message for Kenyans to register as voters. Speaking in Kamkunji, Odinga also promised to put in place strategies to reduce the cost of living if he is elected president next year. In pointing out that the BBI plan still exists, Odinga referred to some of the proposals that are in the BBI, such as uplifting small businesses owners through lending and giving young people exemption from education loans to enable them to develop themselves.
Wale ambao wanaanzisha biashara wanapewa mkopo pesa sawasawa na serikali, na wale ambao wako na deni ya elimu hiyo inafutuliwa mbali, kwa sababu taifa letu bado liko katika hali ya ufukara. Tuko na watu wengi katika jamii yetu ambao wanaishi risabuni na mijini.
The family of billionaire Tob Cohen is now demanding the removal of Director of Public Prosecutions from office. The family's lawyer and attorney Danson Omari argues that Nordin Haji is protecting influential individuals, including Judge Sankali, who has been linked to Cohen's murder. Omari said the law has been violated in dealing with the cases involving the main suspects in the case, including Cohen's ex-wife Sarah Wairimu. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Okay, so the secret is out, and now everybody's out on Uhuru Highway, in and out of the city center this morning, where it was free and clear earlier, not so much anymore. Building up on Aerodrome now, coming off Langata Road, and we're looking at industrial area that doesn't look so bad right now, but likely to pick up on that circuit between Lunga Lunga, Lusaka and Enterprise. Enterprise, the go-to road to get to Mombasa Road through the back. Use that option. Bagathi Way, looking good earlier, but is already starting to build up, taking off all this traffic from Langata Road that has already built up as well. Ngong Road, getting to the City Mortuary roundabout is also a thing this morning. I think a superhighway, the interweb of crazy traffic today, spilling over from Outer Ring, also Kiambu Road, jam-packed in and outbound, leading all the way then through past the junction coming in from the Thika Superhighway. So it doesn't look good, especially here, that place right at Muthui Square, jam-packed completely. So we're looking at getting into traffic hour a lot earlier than we were a few minutes ago. It's a few minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's see what it looks like in about half an hour. But for now, it looks like it's getting pretty sticky. Oh my goodness, we didn't look at Mombasa Road, and we're seeing in and outbound traffic on Mombasa Road this morning as well. More details as we come back. The bypass is looking pretty good, guys. Use them this morning. SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text on 40127. Let's keep things moving this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
It is
the only
8
way to
minutes
start
after
your
7.
day.
Kenya's biggest conversation enters the second hour, and we want to appreciate everybody who's online. Seth Evans says, what a good way to start the morning. Loving your voices from Eldoret. I'm tuned in. Yes. Yes. And then there's somebody who was behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Betty Koi says, Uyu mbaba hapo nyuma. Hey, okay, City, what is the day's proverb?
When you are given some stew and then you add water, you must be wiser than the cook.
When you're given some stew and then you add water, you must be wiser than the cook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something you know about the stew that the cook didn't know. That's why you're adding water, because stew has water in it.
Already.
Hey.
Well, there's a consistency that they had already managed by cooking. Now
You've decided this thing.
They oversalted the thing. You know, cook
According
doesn't
to you.
mean that they're good. It just means that the person who cooked
Gosh.
doesn't imply that they have prowess in actually making.
It doesn't imply any proficiency
in
that
making
activity.
soup. Yes.
Okay.
So if someone just gave you a
So
skim
maybe,
broth there,
maybe
then
they
you
set
find
out to actually cook something and something went wrong. Too much water
Yes.
and it became soup or stew. Okay, get it.
Yeah, when you're given some stew and you decide to add water,
You must be wiser than
you
the
must
cook.
be wiser than the cook. And you said this is a Yoruba proverb. How do you say it in Yoruba?
I don't speak Yoruba.
City doesn't speak Kisi, but he reads
I
Kisi
just know a
proverb.
few words in Yoruba. I don't speak Yoruba.
So you say those few words, we'll put them together.
Umudadi.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, Omo is actually a Yoruba word.
Omo?
Yeah.
And what does Omo mean?
Omo is like, gosh.
Aya.
Exactly. Shake yourself.
Ah.
Pat yourself on the back. That's
It's
exactly
like,
what it is.
Wololo ya ye.
That's it.
Ogao.
That's it. And of course, you're not going to guy more than
Guy.
Omo. That thing I saw, Yes.
Omo. Hey.
Titi Laila.
Shishi. Too many things, oh.
But you know something? This matter we were discussing earlier on regarding killers on the loose, killers arising from amongst us. There's something that I have seen distinctly with our police force. When they set their mind to catching a culprit, that person will be caught.
Yes.
Sooner than you can say Jack Robinson, that person, or Jack Otieno. That particular person will be caught.
Yeah.
So this supposed serial killer thinking he's walking free. All right, let them keep thinking. Whoever it is who's responsible for killing our star athlete, they will be caught. And they will be brought to justice.
That one is a really sad story.
No, it's so tragic. You actually don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, and as we're speaking about that, another Kenyan world beater, Jose Mwok Macharinyang, will be buried at his West Pokot home today. Macharinyang committed suicide under unclear circumstances on Saturday. His body was found hanging from a rope in his cattle shed. The athlete, who died at the age of 35, is suspected to have been suffering from mental illness for some time. The pastor at the Murkwijit Full Gospel Church, Pastor Michael Mwanga, said the athlete was a committed member of his church, together with his family. The former Africa Junior 10,000 meters silver medalist first wore the national colors while competing at the 2004 World Junior Championships in Saint-Étienne, France, finishing fourth in 28 minutes, 36.5 seconds.
You know, what I find even more tragic, Eric, is how I've been conditioned. Every time I hear a story of that nature, someone committed suicide, my mind says, really? How do you know they committed suicide? How do you know they were not killed?
Yeah.
Meaning, I've gotten to a point where I can't believe.
You just can't take
No, at
things
face value, no.
And we shouldn't, really. shouldn't just say it, because he was found dangling on a rope, it therefore means that he committed suicide.
Yes. The dangling on the rope is what we know.
Yep.
But what brought it about, we're not certain.
Yep. We are not really sure. So there was that story in the news just now that Denise Aseto has read. And this is about the pressure that's being piled by a section of lawyers on the Director of Public Prosecutions. What is that story again? This is with regards to the ongoing murder case on a businessman Tom Cohen, right? I'm looking for that story. It was there, a big one in the papers, and where lawyers are questioning how a person of interest who ought to have been questioned so far has not yet been questioned with regards to this killing. So here's the story. Investigations into the murder of businessman Tom Cohen continue to deepen, with documents filed in court indicating that the DCI has not interrogated a senior police officer, a person of interest in the matter. At the same time, Cohen's family has filed an application to remove DPP Nordin Haji from office. Cohen's sister Hannah Van Streten filed the application before the Public Service Commission through lawyer Dunstan Omari. When contacted over the petition to remove him from office, the DPP said he would wait to be served by the PSC before making his formal response. The DPP has filed 2 letters in court to the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, seeking to have the officer record a statement following revelations that Cohen allegedly claimed he was collaborating with his wife, Sarah Wairimu Cohen. So Haji is pushing to have independent investigators revisit this case. The first letter, written by the DPP in 2020, required the investigating officer to record a statement on allegations by Cohen and to state his relationship with Wairimu. Haji also wanted to establish if the police officer was in communication with the widow, including one alleged to have taken place on July 30th, 2019. The letter reads that the investigator ought to also clarify whether it was possible that Cohen could have died on July 19th or 20th, 2019. As per the letter, the investigator was supposed to trace all calls for Cohen and Wairimu, as well as obtain all email correspondence between Court of Appeal Judge Sankale Olekantai and the widow. In documents before the court, the DPP argued that the gaps he had identified were not covered, leading him to conclude that there was insufficient evidence to charge the judge unless new information is obtained. Early this month, Haji reminded the IG that the officer had not recorded the statement as had been directed in 2020. This time, the letter was also brought to the attention of the DCI boss, George Kinoti. I am directed by the Director of Public Prosecutions to write in reference to the above matter in a letter dated March 17, 2020. We have noted from our records that the above directive were not carried out. This is what the Senior Assistant DPP Victor Mulwe wrote. He asked the IG to ensure the officer records the statement and have it forwarded to him alongside a duplicate file sent on September 30th. This is one case that is just, taking a turn everywhere. There is implication of a judge. There is now implication of a senior investigating officer. There are all these things. Now the family of the late Tom Cohen writes to the PSC saying, no, you know what? We have no confidence in the Director of Public Prosecutions. We need him out of office. This is happening. The bottom line is that there is a woman who's been accused of murder and there's a man who's dead.
Mm-hmm. Those are the facts.
Those are facts. Somebody is dead, and his widow is among the suspects in court over this murder, over the death. There are very many other cases that are, come out like that. This case of the gentleman who allegedly vanished on Tuesday night from Jogoo Road Police Station, Mr. Marsden Wanjala. He just walked out, according to what the police would have us believe, is another one. So, arrested, taken to court, case commences, is in police custody. Many other cases that you think about.
Very, very many other cases, and those that have been reported. So I shudder to think that then the police service, this whole outfit, then whether you're getting towards prosecution in the office of the DPP and then getting into the judicial system, that if they want to solve, they can. If you want to, you can. Because we have seen other cases that they've dealt with such speed and alacrity that within days, they've been able to find this person. I remember very clearly the case of Kanyogo, a police officer who it looked like it was prolonged drama, but within 2 weeks, she'd been found, she'd been killed.
Kangogo.
Kangogo, yeah.
Yes.
Kangogo. She'd been found, she'd been killed. Right? So...
She committed suicide.
Okay. She'd been killed by herself.
Yes.
Allegedly. All right? It seems as though when you want to, when there is enough incentive to, then we will see the solving of some of these crimes really, really quickly. Another example, when we heard this BBC story about children who are being abducted and trafficked, etc., and somebody was arrested really quickly, and then it turned out not to be her, and then they issued an apology and such, that story died. Have you heard that
I was actually thinking about that story this morning.
Investigations now going further beyond that to find out who
people were taken to court and were charged. And remember,
they were apologized to and let go.
No. The medical superintendent for Mama Lucy is the one who, the current one, yeah, is the one who was let go. Her predecessor, who had now gone to work for the NMS, has a case. And others who work at the facility, they had a case.
Well, that case had a bit of a twist because here was somebody who had been arrested. They had just reported.
Yes.
Just reported.
Yeah.
So the question, wait.
She was not involved in any of this. So
how
did you draw that conclusion?
Yes. Why are we not dealing with people who are here before? They've just arrived. So are we saying that they were dealing in these matters prior to coming here and they've just come in now to continue dealing with it?
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the manner in which some of these things are dealt with is sketchy at best, right? That why does it seem as though there is a reluctance to then deal with some of these things and really quickly and be very clear until we have now demands for the resignation of someone in particular office, because it would seem as though you're not interested or you have some other scores to settle, and that's why therefore we cannot see, the expansion of justice even, quickly. Because as you said, somebody's been arrested and has been charged and somebody is dead. Children have been trafficked, children have been abducted, people's lives have been lost. So why don't we see it very clear? Because it should be clear. If you don't have enough evidence, that should be clear. If you don't have cause, that should be clear. If you don't have enough to then bring charges, that also should be clear. But this mishmash of ambiguity that we have all the time when it comes to some of these things, honestly, should not be accepted. So, do we still solve crimes in this country?
See, that's the thing.
Are crimes being solved in this country, or are we just having, a circus where things are going round and about, and then we just have things up in the air and nothing ever settles?
It's called a criminal justice system. And the worst thing is once you are put into that system, to come out on the other end, whatever you go through in the meantime is not the story. So, something happens. Somebody is arrested. Police say, we have conducted investigations, we've concluded, we've taken the file to the DPP, prosecution commences. All right? This person maintains their innocence. Or this person, they maintain their innocence, but police believe that this is the person who's done it. There's a victim somewhere. Case starts, case takes forever to conclude. And in the meantime, victim is just there. We're talking about the case, we're being told about a child who, the case of their defilement started when they were still children. It concluded 5 years later. This is a child. It starts, it goes here and there, it goes to this point, it goes to another point.
Do you remember yesterday we were talking about a girl whose arms were both amputated because of being electrocuted?
Yes.
It started in 2017.
And now she's 19.
She's now 19. And this matter was concluded in the Court of Appeal. Okay, meaning it dragged on. But in this country, the cases that perhaps attract or grasp our attention most are usually murder cases. And we have many. Remember, there was this Kabete MP, a gentleman by the name of George Mushai?
Yep.
Driver, 2 bodyguards in 2015, gunned down.
Yep.
In broad morning light. Unresolved. Meshaki Bay. Unresolved.
The police officer.
Yes. Sheikh Abubakar Sharif, otherwise known as Makaburi, unresolved. Abu Drogo, a cleric, unresolved. Karin Chepchumba, unresolved. George Thuo, former MP of Juja, unresolved. Mercy Keino, unresolved. Oscar Kamau Kingara. Look, there are very many unresolved cases. But to give it context, just so that you understand that it isn't only happening in this country. You know, if you look at some of the cases that have caught the attention of the world, the most famous one would have been one of O.J. Simpson and the murder of his wife, Nicole Brown, and Ron Goldman. There are many cases the world over that still remain unresolved. And much as we may talk about this and we consider it important, those who love music, Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G., their murders still haven't resolved. But those are for purposes of context. In this country, what I consider alarming is that that list seems to be growing. It's not getting less. Now, what has also been brought to our attention over and over and over again is the inadequate capacity that our judicial system and the law enforcement also have. So if I'm going to start pointing a finger, I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to point my finger at the question and ask the question, is it possible for us to ensure that we facilitate our judicial system adequately, law enforcement agencies adequately, so that there can be no complaint that they don't have the wherewithal to be able to carry out their functions well? Is it possible?
Sometimes is it just wherewithal or is it willingness?
Sometimes willingness is tempered by the absence of the wherewithal. You give up because you will start and you can't continue because, remember the stories we heard of doctors. You're talking about facilitation? You go to hospital, you know what needs to be done. You don't have adequate facilitation. So somebody will probably end up dying and you know this person didn't need to have died. You know very well. Simply because somebody who is responsible for ensuring you have the capacity and the facility and the resources to do your job has not done so. You're ready to do your job, you're willing to do your job. Remember when we talked to the health workers and the leaders and they said, look, it's not just money. The money plays a part of it, but we have a problem because we have oaths that we want to live up to. We can't because we do not have the capacity to. The institutions, our bosses, the people who are supposed to ensure that we do this thing are crippling us. We can't.
So then what does that mean? That you then chalk it up to say, well, then, because when that is the cry that comes out from the service that is tasked with getting rid of some of these things in society, what are you essentially telling those who would then go to perpetrate crime? There's a salient message that's being sent, essentially, that it's all right. You can go ahead and commit a crime. By the time we get round to you, it's going to be too long. We don't have the funds or the resources to be able to sort out these issues. So you know what? You're going to get into the system. So by the time you get out, number one, you could have been that victim who suffers maybe an unjust a charge, or you could be the guy who gets into the system and gets an easy time because there are no funds, there are no resources. So likelihood that you could commit a crime, get through the system and walk away essentially scot-free. It's a message that's being sent, whether we like it or not, conscious or otherwise. There's a message that's being sent to those who perpetrate crime, or those who are thinking about it, or those who said, okay, well, I could probably get away with this. There's a message that's being sent there that you can get into the system because they don't have enough resources and funds or capacity, that you could get away with murder. Literally.
Actually, I look at it from the other side. I look at it from the side of an innocent person getting into the system.
That's what I'm saying, both sides, Eric.
An innocent person getting into the system. The message that you can get away with it, I don't think is loud. Because people get caught. For whatever case there is.
People get caught.
People get caught. Somebody will be caught and police will actually say, the local police boss will say, "Tapeleka kotini kesho for murder and we charge with murder."
But then he'll walk away on Tuesday night.
Walking away on Tuesday night is one thing. You're out on bail. But you are out facing a murder charge.
Got it.
You stay in that system for a very long time with that thing hanging over your head.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's a murder. Everybody in the community knows that you are facing a murder charge.
And by the way, it doesn't mean you murdered the person or you committed murder. You've been charged.
You've just been put into that system. And then that case now, it doesn't move. From that point, case does not seem to move. Look at these cases that we're talking about. Cohen. It enters into the criminal justice system properly. DCI forwards file to DPP. DPP goes to court. DPP starts. Judiciary is seized of the matter. Thing starts. Now from that point, moving issues. When we come back to realize that, the DCI should have interviewed so-and-so, should have asked further questions, yes, should have looked at the number of people who've been charged. By the time the DPP is now coming to say, actually, no, you know what we've done? We've entered into a plea bargain with some of the suspects so they can become our witnesses. That person who's entering into that plea bargain so that they can become a witness, the DPP has actually ascertained that this person did not have such grave responsibility on this matter. But you know what? They were in the system. And the only way you're going to get some ease your way out of the system is by accepting to the DPP, telling you, you're going to be my witness. Throughout the length and duration of that case, you are tied to the court.
Actually, your life is not yours.
You have gone in there. First thing is, can you deposit you are a flight risk, bring your passport, you are all those things. Bring cash bail and surety of the same amount. Your title deed there. Your cash sitting in the judicial system, sitting there. You're trying to protest your innocence to anybody. Nobody is listening. Si uko na kesi. Utaambia mahakama. Utasema mbele. I'm looking at it from that point of, we have our judicial service system, our criminal justice system, just focusing on the criminal one, has so many layers and levels that it ends up punishing the innocent. When the lady like the one we spoke to here, who runs what foundation is it? I forget the name. Who used to work at a bank, and then she was taken to court and she was convicted. Yes. She was jailed.
Teresi Njoroge. Clean start.
Yeah, clean start, right? Went to jail with her child. By the time she was appealing and fighting to get out, she had been in the system. Her neighbors knew, ameshikwa, ndio neighbor pesa kwa bank. Neighbors run away. Your family, there are those who look at you, cousins from far. They don't want to associate with you. Police can come.
Themselves, actually,
Flying Squad came to her mother's house the other day. Yeah, if I talk to her, Flying Squad are coming to my house. Throughout that, you are alone, suffering by yourself. And then you hear, DPP and DCI are writing each other love letters through the Inspector General of Police. Please interrogate so-and-so. Please ask so-and-so. Please. Gets delayed. That's where I see a big
everlasting
problem.
Stain on your image. I get that. I see it. I'm also looking at the current superintendent of this hospital, Mama Lucy, and regardless of whether she's been reinstituted at her position, she's going to have that stain on her image. It doesn't matter that at some point they thought you could be the one that was in this dragnet of trafficking children. Really. So here I see, and I'm still going back to that question, whether we're looking at it from that side, Eric, whether they're innocent people who get dragged through the system, or whether you're looking at criminals exactly who are being put in the system. Are crimes being solved in this country, or are we still doing this whole romanticizing between the DPP and the DCI and the Inspector of Police and the judicial system?
Is there swift delivery?
Solved? Is there swift delivery of justice in this country, whether it's for or against? Or are we going to be in this whole thing back and forth, up and about, and crimes are not really being brought down to earth?
Let's hear your perspective as well as we continue this conversation. 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. Good morning. It's 28 minutes to 8. Let's take a look at weather and traffic.
(24/7) around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
And all we're in a society where men have become very lazy. They have made people's daughters become mamafuas. You know mamafua? Yes. That you come to a man's house, maybe you went out or you've come for a weekend. You find all his shirts in his laundry basket. Yeah. He was waiting for you to
come and
are you his wife? including his inner garments.
Right, yeah.
Ladies, stop doing that.
Let me
Those
tell you.
are wifely duties, and even some wives don't
That's
do them.
literally what I was about to say. I was wondering, there's even some wives who refuse to do that.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840. In the quest of saving an ailing son, Sonia does the unthinkable. Will the guilt of her misdeeds haunt her, or will she come clean? Catch Mother's
All right,
Guilt
still looking at
6
cloudy
p.m.
conditions in Nairobi this morning. I'll see highs of 24 and lows of 14. In Nakuru, mostly cloudy at 16, highs of 25 and lows of 15. Light rain at 15. In Nyeri, highs of 23 and lows of 14. Eldoret is mostly cloudy at 13, highs of 24. And in Kisumu, 19 degrees and mostly cloudy, highs of 29. In Kakamega, sunny at 20, highs of 28 and lows of 15. Mombasa is cloudy this morning at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 24. While in Malindi, it is raining in some parts at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Kampala is mostly sunny at 19, we'll see lows of 18 and highs of 29. While in Johannesburg, it's sunny at 21, highs of 29 and lows of 16. Lagos is mostly clear at 26, highs of 31 and lows of 25. Not to forget Dar es Salaam, it's mostly sunny at 24, highs of 30 and lows of 22. And finally, for now, in Kinshasa, it's mostly clear at 22. That'll be the low for today. It'll go to highs of 33.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM.
Okay, the folks on Mombasa Road feeling a little bit abandoned this morning. There is traffic on Mombasa Road. It's not as bad, seeing as certain parts of that road have been opened to over the last couple of days. Still, mishmash of traffic coming in from the Way Bridge heading out towards the SGR. But we're seeing inbound traffic more than we are seeing outbound, of course. Old Mombasa Road also has that issue. Southern Bypass coming in from the ICD route has quite some traffic this morning. Folks trying to avoid that whole area leading to Cabanas, but it's not too bad. Where it is pretty sticky is on North Airport Road today, heading out and connecting with Outer Ring. So that long sea of traffic goes all the way to the Thika Superhighway, moving along slowly, not too much of an issue. The Eastern Bypass also will give you a good option to use this morning if you want to enjoy the scenery that Nairobi has to offer. Langata Road is quite busy as well, heading towards the Wilson Airport, out then towards Timor. Bagathi Way, bumper to bumper. What's going on, guys? Well, everybody's had to use Bagathi Way and didn't give her notice. So she's got to feed you with that traffic this morning. Thika Superhighway all the way past Survey today, quite thick, past the drive-in, and then spilling over from the Outer Ring. That's an issue there. Kiambu Road, it was free before, is not so anymore. You got to enjoy things while they do last. And this is traffic that we see now. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127. We want to keep things moving this morning.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It is 24 minutes to 8. This is Kenya's biggest conversation in the Situation Room. CT Muga Ndu Okoh, Eric Latiff. We are looking at our criminal justice system. Yes, so a crime has occurred. Police investigate. They take the file to the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. The DPP looks at the reviews the file, is convinced that there is sufficient grounds to hold a case, takes the case to court. Court is seized of the matter. Process continues from that point on until the final day that the court rules on a particular matter. A lot is happening. There are victims, there are alleged perpetrators, there are the actual perpetrators. Have they been netted? Are there innocent people who are being pushed through the system? Are there, perpetrators who are taking advantage of the system and enjoying it? This is a, big issue because there are many people who are just sitting somewhere wondering, okay, when shall we ever get our justice? Whereas at the same time, we see at the end of the day, there are cases that get concluded after a couple of years. But we want to hear your perspectives. Lawrence in Nairobi is on the line. Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, there's a very important discussion. So I want to tell my experience with the justice system.
Uh-huh.
I have a case that has dragged for 1 year now, and I have not yet received justice. And the last time I was in court, I literally disagreed with the judge.
Uh-huh.
So some of these cases, we find that some people died without getting justice. Now, poor people, those who cannot, because I myself, I can defend myself in court. I don't even need a judge.
Yeah, you don't need a
There are
judge.
some poor people. I
Or
don't
a
need
lawyer.
I don't know. Sorry, I don't need a lawyer. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't need a lawyer. Yeah, I don't need a lawyer. I can defend myself in court. I don't need a lawyer. So there are many poor people who cannot even afford to file a case, because filing a case, you will need money to file that case. So now these poor people, even if they file those cases, they will not get justice. There's a time I told my friend in Kisumu, okay, he was using a judge, because everybody is corrupt. From the police to lawyers to judges, everybody is corrupt in justice system. So there's a time I even told my friend in Kisumu, because previously he was using a lawyer, and the lawyer had expected a lot of money from him. So I told him, you don't need a lawyer, just go, because you went to school, just go and defend yourself. And believe me, no. The guy won cases 3 years, because the person he accused was appealing every time he won the case. The person was appealing, so the guy won the case. Now, the judge with my case, the judge told me that there are people who died without even getting justice, and my case, he told me my case even can drag for long. And he was telling me even this online system that they have brought, the filing system, and the judiciary. He was telling me the system is not working properly, because I don't know, some guys are not being paid, because I was complaining, why was I not able to file my case online? And he was telling me, no, the people are not being paid, this system is not working well, it's not their problem. So I don't know.
Lawrence, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ask me please.
Have you managed to file your case?
Yes, I did manage, but you see, when I tried filing it, online, I was not successful. So what I did, I went to the office and filed it there.
Okay.
So the problem is when I was complaining there, they were telling me, okay, the online system is not working well. You need to come here. And you see now, my case, the person is holding my crucial document. And the person is telling me, you not even get justice after all.
Who is the person, Lawrence, if I may ask you, this person who is withholding your crucial documents, who is this person?
Yes. Okay, this person, during COVID, we had difficulties in paying house rent. So I had some areas that I had not managed to pay. So the person just decided to, she came in the company of the area chief, and then they confiscated my things.
Okay.
So, when they confiscated my things, she had not even served me the notice.
Okay.
So I went to rent tribunal, and I filed the case there. So, my case was dragged there for 1 year. And, the person is holding my certificates and my crucial documents. I've even tried to reach her over the phone by SMS. I've even told her, just give me my crucial documents, because right now, you can tell everything you want, but just give me my crucial documents. The person is not responding. I've even used my friend. When I try to call her, the person is not taking my calls. When I use my friend, my friend told her, okay, we can give you half of the money, and you take some of the property there, and then you give us the rest. And then she refused. So I've not received justice. Right now, even I went there the other day, I was told the cases that are there until next year, because the judge is on leave and all that. So, the justice system is in a mess, a total mess.
Just too slow.
Yeah, too slow. And even the other day when I was, because she took my things to her store in another house there. And so when I was telling I was asking somebody whether she had taken them to her, maybe she had told them. the person was telling me the woman moved my things to her own, where she stays in Otawala. So now it is very difficult for me, and I don't know what to do. But that's the Kenya we live in,
Pole, Lawrence.
They take laws into their own hands.
Pole sana. Thank you for sharing your story as well.
Yes, thank you very
sana.
much.
Brian in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning, Brian.
I think our court has a problem. Number one is I saw the other time Chief Justice saying that the shortest a case will take is 3 years, which is still ridiculous. Because last week I was in court for a succession matter, and it was supposed to be a confirmation of grant. And I've been there for like 6-7 years. Last time when I was there, it was postponed. And I was told, I was given a date of January 20-something for mention to get a date for confirmation. Meaning I'll get it earlier, maybe mid next year. And the process of confirmation now is not a big process.
Yeah.
It's just to ask beneficiary, have you agreed? Have you agreed? Yes, confirmed, signed, it's gone. So sometimes I usually used to blame the executive for not appointing judges. But last time, judge came and said, I'm not sitting for a month. I'm new in this station, and I have to familiarize myself.
I need to catch up with all the cases.
Yes. Wow. Plus, they are going for a long recess in November and December. Now, the next government that will come in power should be able to build more courts, especially lower level courts, because you find, look for example, the case of BBI. It was given priority over other cases, and it was listened to back to back. If they do that to all the cases, we will reduce a lot of backlog. So the next government should employ more judges and more magistrates, especially at the lower courts. If you go to remand, Eric, you guys, you will find a lot of people suffering because of not paying a fine of 5,000, 2,000.
That's very true.
These people, what we should do, like CDF did with schools, they should be allowed also to build courts, at least in every constituency, and small jail term for those small offenders, so that a case can take at least a month or two. Because sometimes these cases, inconvenience, you cannot make a long-term plan because you're told you're supposed to appear in court tomorrow. When you go, it's postponed to another day. So-and-so did not show up. And especially these small cases of speeding, sometimes those policemen, they have some plans with magistrates. Because you are charged with speed, they will not show up. If you don't part with a bribe, you will be taken to court, but they will never show up. And then after third, fourth appearance in court, you will be released court-free. But they've wasted your time. Maybe you are arrested in Salga from Nairobi. You always have to travel to Nakuru for court session. So something should be done.
Indeed. Brian, actually, that's what the Chief Justice said, that she's committed. Among the things that she wants to do is to see the establishment of the small crimes courts. The small claims courts.
But I want
and alternative justice systems as well.
I want her to tell us the time. 3 years is not enough.
Timeline.
Why didn't BBI take 3 years? Why didn't BBI take 3 years?
That's very true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you,
so
Brian.
Everybody should let justice, not just the mighty.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Karanja.
Yes, how are you, Eric?
Fine.
Good
morning, Karanja. Fine, thank you. How are you today?
Yes, I'm very fine here in Naivasha. My problem is the courts have no problem. The judges have no problem. How can you take a traffic offense act to the court? Something that you can do it online. Something that you can do it online. You can just say, this is what happened, then you have finalized and you pay. How do you take somebody who has stolen a chicken to the court? How do you take somebody who has stolen a cow to the court? How do you take civil cases in court? This is shenanigans. What we have to do, we should try to eliminate simple crimes to the courts.
How do we do that?
And in our Kenyan constitution, we have the criminal laws, which is a rigid law, if I'm not wrong, and we have flexible laws. Why should we take a flexible law to the court, my friend? This is something
Karanja, you actually have a very valid point, because just like our jails are actually full of people who have committed really petty crimes, indeed, some of our court processes are also suffocating with petty crimes that could be resolved
instantly.
Yes.
Yes.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Go ahead. I hear what you're saying. The concept of instant justice, I think, is something that needs to be applied. And I just think about the ticketing system, for example, in some other countries, whereby you have a traffic offense, you're fined instantly. You're given your ticket, and then the system is set up so you go and pay. You don't appear in court. You appear in court if you have a series of unpaid tickets, for example, and then now you're asked to answer. But that instant justice system is there. You have a traffic offense, you pay, you finish, you move. There are people in remand today for traffic offenses. Can you imagine?
Yep.
Overlapping, you could have paid 1,000, 5,000 shillings,
They
get a
just
ticket,
could
pay,
not
go.
afford to pay it.
They couldn't afford to pay it.
Surely.
But then there is no
Surely,
system that says, okay, how can we go through this? Can there be a...
Should
there
be a way.
must be a way.
That's true, Karanja. Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution. Let's hear from Mohammed in Mombasa. Good morning, Mohammed.
Hello, how are you this morning?
We're good.
Excellent. I just want to continue on from what you're talking about, instant justice, and think a little bit out of the box. So, like with M-Pesa, we were the trailblazers around the world for mobile money.
Yep.
Several professions are under threat with artificial intelligence, not least pharmaceutical companies, or rather chemists, doctors, and the legal profession. Why not invest in artificial intelligence, especially for the small claims courts, where simple processes have simple solutions? So if you're speeding at 56 kilometers an hour on a 40, here you get slapped, you pay your M-Pesa charge, off you go. Those pinches in people's pockets is going to go a long way. And like M-Pesa, when have you heard somebody's M-Pesa money going for a walk? There is no issue about theft, corruption, and all the rest of it. So that earlier discussion you had this morning about 2 billion shillings being lost per day, naturally that is going to be snipped quite severely. I mean, I really don't see the issue here. In trying to implement that.
Yeah.
And if Kenya, like they did with M-Pesa, was going to be the trailblazer, can you imagine Kenya suddenly being the forefront of administering justice by artificial intelligence? You're going to bring Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and the whole crowd of them queuing up here to learn how we did it.
Yeah, that's very true. That's true, Mohammed. Asante sana for your contribution.
Come back. I would love CT to come back at me, because I love his quips.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and it's sounding extremely prophetic, and what I like is the tone and the gusto and the positivity that you inject into it, that it is a possibility. I am an optimist, and I believe it is possible.
Yeah, these are words like my mentor, Mohammed Hersi. He ends every one of his pieces with I choose to remain an optimist. So, karibu kosto jameni.
Asante baba.
Good day. Rufus in Nakuru, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
We're fine, thanks.
Yeah, I just want to contribute to the discussion.
Yes, karibu.
And mine is, let me be the devil's advocate. I think our justice system is rigged sometimes to aid corruption.
Explain.
Because if you look at let's start with the police. I think a few weeks ago, the IG said that there should be no permanent roadblocks. But drive anywhere, they are there.
And they're permanent.
You know what they do is that they found a way of moving from one place to the other.
Yeah.
So, but they are still the same people.
Yep.
And the other thing is when you find like there was a time that they tried to install the mobile courts on the roads.
Yep.
I think it was sabotaged for a purpose. So that, when those mobile courts were there, everybody was scared, so they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But right now, if they are not there, there will be police on the road. They will be taking whatever they take, and then if you are taken to court, sometimes you pay what you call not the fine, that you pay cash bail.
The cash bail, yes.
Yeah, but you never get it back. you have a choice of going and saying, okay, I don't want
you
to
don't
come
go to court.
Yeah, you never get it back. So it's kind of, the best thing is that our Chief Justice should try her best to make sure that there are no loopholes for people. And I agree with the guy that says that we need artificial intelligence. We need to use the internet. For an example, it used to take us people who are in the transport sector like 3 or 4 days to get your TLB. I can get it from the comfort of my house right now.
Yep.
So all the brokers were cut out. You just do it on eCitizen, and it's done.
Yep.
So I think they should follow the justice system should follow the way of eCitizen,
I agree
whereby
with
you can get a ticket, you pay by M-Pesa, and then you go your way. Yeah. And then the point system of the licenses. I don't know what happened to it. Where when you get yourself in trouble, you lose points.
I agree with you.
So,
it's true, Rufus, and thank you very much. I agree with you. It appears the system is rigged to aid corruption, and it's players in the system. It's not that the system is actually designed that way. It's players in the system who've found ways of putting wedges along the way. So you cannot fully open a door that you need to pass through.
That's right, but I think all is not lost because things are improving by and by. So it is a very slow process, but it's improving by and by. And we'll get there someday.
True. Lovely day in Nakuru, Rufus.
You too, guys.
Asante. Millicent from Githurai, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning, City and Ndu. I'm fine.
Good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm okay, I thank God. And you're doing a good job. Good job.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Now, I just have something small to add on what you're discussing, because I also had an experience of, I got an accident some years back, and we had to follow the procedure and filed a case with a certain lawyer. And it took me some time. I could be told to come, and then we go to the court, and then we did all the procedures. And then now, when it came to compensation, it took so many years. It took it's not so very long, but around 4 years.
Yep.
But now lately, when I went early this year to their office, they told me, no, this company that was insuring these buses is falling. It's no more. And I'm like, but these buses are still operating. They are operating under whose insurance, which insurance is the same.
Yep.
And you're telling me the company is fallen. And I got fed up, and I decided I'm not going to follow up on this thing because it's taking so much of my time. I'm not being assisted, and I'm not even available.
And even a heavy emotional toll on you.
Yeah, and I decided, since it's me who got hurt, and maybe God has been so gracious, I'm able to move about, because I got an injury on my back.
Wow.
And by God's grace, I've been managing, and I just felt like it's giving me a lot of trauma when I start to follow it up, and the stories I get are not even helpful.
So just to understand this case, it
Yes,
went to
please.
court? Or are you still dealing out of court, that you're dealing directly with the insurance company?
No. I'm dealing. There's a lawyer. It's in the lawyer's office. They document the file and everything. But when I go there, I'm just given stories, and I decided not to follow it up again. So I think there's a lot of streamlining that needs to be done with these advocates. They need to be honest with people, because somebody just told me, I don't want to rely on a hearsay, that this particular advocate just dismisses cases. But on the other hand, he he cooperates with the insurance company or the one who is supposed to pay to make the payment, and then they sort it out, and then you who is the victim, you're told, you're just given stories, make up stories. So I just pray that something could be done.
Sure.
Paul, Millicent.
But I'm happy for you. Thank you so much.
Paul,
Good to hear from
and
you.
thank you
Always,
for contributing.
Karibu sana. Have a
Okay.
lovely day.
You too, lovely day. Well, yeah, people's experiences, I mean, we all have the same experiences. The system. First of all, there's a way that the system is rigged. You've been made to know that this system is a difficult one. So one, you have to be given an incentive so that you don't get into the system.
Can you imagine?
And that's how come somebody is being taken to court in Nakuru because they allegedly have been impersonating a magistrate. It doesn't work alone.
No.
People
it's a
in the system are enablers.
Right.
There must be some officer of the court somewhere, even if it's a cleaner in the court or a clerk in the court. This person has a case in court. Okay, the victim has a case in court, and they were paying this alleged magistrate so that this case can be expedited. So, for them to agree to part with a shilling, there must be somebody, either a police officer, a lawyer, a court official who they know
Absolutely.
is in the system, and there is one who has provided this solution.
Somebody's demanding it and somebody's receiving it.
Yep.
It's not just empty pockets of people. There's somebody who's asking, there's somebody who's receiving. The whole circuit.
It is. It's a whole big and long circuit. Thank you for the contributions. Remember, this is a Thursday, and the Chief Justice said that on Thursdays she wants to be having conversations on Justice Thursdays. Justice Thursdays are these kind of things. Information then gets back to the Chief Justice, the Office of the Chief Justice, and she gets to know these are the areas that we need to focus on. This is the feedback that we're getting from the people on how to access justice. Kenya's biggest conversation continues into the next hour. We are glad that you're tuned in, and we are always happy whenever you call us, and you also contribute on social media, SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Dagi Oguta says, good morning, Situation Room. Oh my God, long time, but I'm happy to listen to your great conversation. Good morning. Welcome back, Dagi Oguta, wherever you've been. Glad that you're fine. Good morning. It's now 8 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire Dennis Aseto. As justice for billionaire Tob Cohen continues to be sought, the family is now demanding the removal of the Director of Public Prosecutions from office. The family's lawyer and attorney Dansan Omari argues that Nuruddin Haji is protecting influential individuals, including Judge Sankale, who has been linked to Cohen's murder.
The Director of Public Prosecution, one Mr. Nuruddin Haji, topped the prosecution of one Justice Ole Kantai, who is a prime suspect in the murder of the late Tob Cohen, who is our client. In a letter he has written, he has instructed the Director of Criminal Investigation, one Mr. George Kinoti, never again file his closed, and there should be no further police action.
Omari said the law has been violated in dealing with cases involving the main suspects in the case, including Cohen's ex-wife Sarah Wairimu. The Cohen family opposes the DPP's move to recruit foreign investigators to investigate the killings and questions its effectiveness.
We have also raised very serious issues on the competence and qualification of the Director of Public Prosecution. And we have attached a copy of YouTube when he was being interviewed as the Director of Public Prosecution in Parliament. The Director of Public Prosecution, one Mr. Nuruddin Haji, does not disclose. He does not disclose which secondary school he went, which university he went, which law school he went, which law firm he did for privilege. So we are asked, do we have really a competent Director of Public Prosecution? prosecution.
It should be noted that last month, DCI officer John Gashomo claimed that Judge Sankale was involved in concealing the truth about Cohen's murder. Cohen's body was found inside a septic tank at his home in 2019 after disappearing for 2 months. Now, governors have opposed Commission of Revenue Authority's proposal to maintain county budget allocations at 370 billion in the next financial year. In a statement from the Council of Governors, the governors called for the rate to be increased as the central government is also expected to raise more funds in the 2022-2023 financial year. According to the budget estimates for the year, the government will collect 2.147 trillion shillings, an increase from 1.897 trillion shillings. According to Ndiritu Murithi, chairman of the Finance Committee in the Council of Governors, although the CRA has cited the upcoming general election among the issues contributing to the budget increase, the issue should not affect operations in the county. Now, Labour CS Simon Chilugui and PS Fred Segor have urged Baringo residents to turn out in large numbers and register as voters. Speaking in Kaptere, Baringo North, the two said the ongoing exercise by the electoral body IEBC will enable residents to make choices that will go a long way in addressing issues they are dealing with. Chilugui warned that failure to register will only result to election of leaders who will not do much in addressing their concerns.
Kuna watoto wetu wengi wako kule nje. Sisi kama professionals na viongozi wa kaunti hii tumekutana Nairobi ili tusaidiane tuone kwamba watu zaidi ya 76,000 katika kaunti hii waweze kusajiliwa kuwa wapiga kura.
In the process, the IEBC aims to register 6 million new voters within 30 days. However, by last week, the IEBC had managed to register 202,000 voters against a target of 1.5 million. The confusion within Ford Kenya is temporary and there is nothing to fear. The party's chairman Ferdinand Wanyonyi said everything will be handled and that party members should not have any fears.
Nataka kuchukua nafasi hii kuhimiza wale ambao wako nje ya chama cha Ford Kenya, chama cha Simba, warudi kwa chama iwe na nguvu, tung'ang'anie viti zote ambazo ziko hapa. Ndipo na hakika ya kwamba sisi kama second oldest party in this country after KANU tutachukua viti zote hapa.
After a meeting with the party members, Wanyonyi urged members who are defected from the party to return and strengthen it.
Chama cha Ford Kenya ambacho kilianzisha na hayati Mheshimiwa Mzee Aside Muliro na Mheshimiwa Vice President Vijana Wamalwa iko imara.
Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has mourned the death of athlete Agnes Tirop, who was found dead in her house in Iten Town. In his message of comfort to the family, Uhuru termed Tirop as a Kenyan heroine and champion whose death is a big blow to the country's sporting ambitions and profile. He also called on the National Police Service to track down and apprehend the criminals responsible for Tirop's murder and bring them to book. Kenya North Police Boss Tom Makori said the world 10,000 meters bronze medalist had stab wounds on the neck. Milka Chemos is athletes Kenya representative.
We lack words to say. As an athlete representative, I feel so painful to talk about this, the girl, the sister that I've been talking to, and as athletes, we are so sad.
Newswire condoles with the family and friends. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
All right, Uhuru Highway, quite packed today, in and outbound, interestingly enough. Trying to get to Mombasa Road and you're on Uhuru Highway today, what you need to do is now take that left turning and go all the way and connect with Enterprise Road, and then you should get onto Mombasa Road without too much of an issue. Sticking on Uhuru Highway might cause you a bit of a headache this morning. All right, and Ngong Road also piling up as you then get towards Haile Selassie in that corner. And then getting into the CBD is what everybody's trying to do this morning, whether you're coming off Jogo Road, which is quite packed, whether you're coming off Langata Road, which is also following in fine form, as well as Bagathi Way today. Everybody using Bagathi Way as an escape route and then is getting stuck. All right, looking in from the Thika Superhighway as well, that traffic is not letting up in any way, shape or form, and it's piling up even significantly more so on Kiambu Road this morning. Wow. 8 o'clock brings in a new dimension of traffic hour because it's quite packed wherever you look. North Airport Road spilling onto Outer Ring today, and that whole eastern part of the city in a chock-a-block situation. So traffic continues for some time now. An accident, unfortunately, in the Roy Sambu area today, and that is slowing things down. And that's the reason why we see that heavy traffic, because of that accident. Be careful, folks, even as you're out and about. Shall we look at it in a short while and see what it looks like? Help us out, guys. Things like that. You see it so we can warn guys in advance of time. Will be great. SpiceFM KE is how you can do it on Twitter. Text on 40127.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes
8
in
minutes
punching
after
up.
8. Good morning. How are you doing? Happy Thursday. It's the 14th day of October 2021. This is the day. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, this is the day they take the headlines tomorrow morning. Because this is the day that the law tells them they must review or give the price for fuel for the next 1 month. We know what's happening globally. Global oil prices are on the up and up. Here locally, components of oil price, tax. Members of Parliament have been having a conversation. They are still having a conversation. Nothing has changed. Let's see what happens with IPRA this afternoon. And also, yes, we also know that there is a petroleum levy fund that is supposed to be cushioning people from price fluctuations.
Supposed to
and
be.
Ukuri Atani has fully that account.
Where did it go?
It was Fulizward.
Yeah.
City has the day's proverb.
I do actually. When you're given some stew and you add water, you must be wiser than the cook.
When you're given a stew
and you add water, clearly
you must be wiser than the
something
cook.
you know something the cook has no clue about.
Yeah.
Because a stew by its very nature has water as part, a key component to the ingredient.
This is what we call matusi ndogo ndogo.
Zile ndogo ndogo za asubuhi.
Yes, asubuhi. Hey, you feel you're more clever than who prepared this, eh?
No, you're clearly clever, huh?
Clearly. There's a song by Sauti Sol. What's the title of that song? I think it's The Midnight Train. A part of the lyrics says, tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji.
Okay.
What's ujuzi?
Tafakari hayo.
Ujuzi?
Yeah.
Knowledge, ability.
Okay.
Ujuaji?
Ujuaji is what? Like street smarts?
Too much, no.
Oh, right. Okay.
Too
much.
Yes.
Ujuaji mingi.
Yes.
Kuna ujuaji mingi sana. All right. So this lovely Thursday, we want to give feedback to our public service. You know, we have various institutions. We have 3 arms of government, the executive, the judiciary, the legislature. We have constitutional commissions, several of them. We have state agencies, many that work in various sectors that are helping us. One of them we just mentioned, Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Another one we keep mentioning, the Kenya National Highways Authority, Kenya Urban Roads Authority, Kenya Rural Roads Authority, and many others. All of these public institutions serving you in one way or the other. We have government ministries and state departments, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Devolution, Ministry of the National Treasury and Planning. We have public service, we have ICT, innovation and youth, all these ministries and state departments. We want to give them feedback from your experience interacting with any public institution. Give a bouquet or a barb. So bouquets and barbs to our public institutions. Vote for the best and worst performing public institution from your interaction with them, and tell us why. I mean, this one, I went into this institution and I loved the service. I loved the attitude of the people who were serving me. I loved the efficiency. I loved how fast I was served. I loved how how much information I was given. All those things.
Essentially, your lived experience.
Your lived experience with public service. Because there are many that actually do very good things. There are many that people interact with and they tell you, I went there with a preconceived mindset. And then I walked out and I was like, okay. Others, it could be specific officers. Maybe a police officer. You went there with this mindset of the police service and you actually come out with another mindset of police service. Mm-hmm. And you feel good about it. Others, you just have pain from morning till evening. I have a headache. Why? Because of the experience that I have. What would you like to start, City?
Actually...
Bouquets or barbs? Or both? Bouquet and barb?
Story.
Story.
Mm-hmm. Driving along Ngong Road, get a roundabout of a city mortuary. Mm-hmm. The usual traffic lights, and there's a policeman walking along, long queue, looking at insurances. I was about to say road license. I realized we no longer have road licenses. Mm-hmm. And the person politely tells me, salutes and says, "Good morning, sir. I think," his exact words, "I think your insurance is..."
has expired.
I say, "No, my insurance is not expired." He said, "I think it's expired." I said, so he says, "Why don't you move your car? Since the lights are green, move your car over there and come out and see for yourself."
Sorry, can I ask a question in the middle of the story?
Yes.
This was a police officer who was asking you to do these things politely.
I'm telling you,
Okay.
I'm very politely.
I was
very
just making
politely.
sure.
Did he call him Mweshimiwa?
No, he just called me. Yes, said, "How are you, sir?"
Sir.
So this is what's happening. He said, "Just move your car to the side, park it over there, so that you don't
So
hinder
that you
the
can see
traffic."
for yourself. If in
He
case
told me, "Please get out and come and see for yourself."
Okay.
Because I believe this thing has expired. Lo and behold, it expired.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I said,
By how many days?
I think a month. What had happened was, no, it hadn't expired. In my mind, I had...
You had replaced the sticker.
Yes, it was there.
Right.
Yes. But it wasn't there. So I said, "Could you please allow me to just call my insurance?" Because in my mind, it is there. That is why I was so adamant. I said, "No, please go ahead and call." And I called. He told me, "Sir, why don't you just go along and then call me back and tell me you've sorted out the problem."
Call who back?
Him.
The police officer.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Told me, "Give me your number." I gave him my number. He wrote it down. The police officer is called Julius. He's a traffic police officer. He works. He comes. His station is Kilimani Police Station.
Bas.
And I went off.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, yes, my insurance was ready. I am the one who had never picked it. So it was sent to me, and I put it on.
Okay. Now, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good story.
Brilliant.
It's a good story. And there are many Juliuses.
Oh, there are very many Juliuses.
There are very many Juliuses. Police officers who, they look at you and they say, clearly, by the look of things, this is a mistake. It's something that it's an oversight.
Yeah.
It's an oversight. And they'll come to you and they'll be polite about it and they'll even help you to sort out. They'll come, they'll find you, maybe your vehicle has stalled on the road and they can see you're causing a lot of traffic snarl up and they'll tell you, wacha nikusaidia tusukume hii gari.
Yes, they do.
We see that
so
many times.
Seen so many, sitting in traffic and, I think the first time I saw something like that was, a police officer helping to push a vehicle. It could have been, you sort of get out of your causing traffic, but helping to push a vehicle, getting in and being involved in the process to, alleviate some of this trauma that this individual is obviously going through. And I think there are many pictures of that we actually have in our minds that such a thing has happened before.
Yep. Very many of those. Bouquets and so that's a bouquet. Any barb? There are many.
But Barb with the public service?
Yes.
You know, I am at an advantage.
Yeah.
I'm at an advantage because of my age and the way I look. When you have a white beard like mine, and you have hair that looks like it needs immediate combing, and you sometimes wear a hat as I do, I have, in my experience, my lived experience, people talk very politely to you. They even want you to jump queues. You just follow this. You insist and say, no. I'm going to follow this queue because there are people ahead of me. So I have seen myself getting preferential treatment when I go. So I am one of these people who's unlikely to say, I've had this experience. If you ask me about the experience 20 years ago, I'll tell you many. But in the last 10 years, I'm spoken to politely. I'm asked if I can be assisted. So.
Okay. As you say that, I have to give it up to the folks at immigration because, obviously, being somebody who is not from here.
Excuse me? I thought you're from here.
You thought? Okay.
Did we not acquire you?
Well, that's a long story for another day. But experiences when I first came here and experiences after immigration procedures had then been streamlined. And I can tell you that in the first half of my being in this country, it was a nightmare. Even if you had everything in order, the chances of you getting your documentation seamlessly were very, very low. I can imagine, immigration was like my second home, being off campus and then it was like I lived in campus and I lived in immigration. So where are you today? Oh, I'm at immigration, right? Now, I can see the clear transition then between when things were streamlined in this particular department. And it could be that leadership then came in and changed the way in which things were supposed to be. Whereas you had the fee that you were supposed to pay, you had your documents and the copies and pictures and everything that you needed. And then you would still just be in the system waiting forever to get your particular permit and things. Now, I could see the direct movement between then all this waiting in line and the queuing, etc., until now, whereby the documentation that you need, handed in, even if you're going to wait, it is received, it is stamped, it is clear, you're given a piece of paper, you're told in about such a period of time, it will be ready, you can come get your passport endorsed and then you move.
Yeah.
And I can see that. I would have to say, truly, when things were streamlined at immigration, if you had any chance to visit the, pardon my French, hellhole that it was before to what it is now where people are queuing, getting stamped, going, you have to pay a certain fee, you pay, you move, you get, you're gone. Beneficiary of streamlining in that system, it actually works. It does.
So immigration department.
Absolutely.
In the Ministry of Interior. You don't want to give the whole ministry, you want to just give the
immigration department. My lived experience. Is
it the immigration department. That's a bouquet.
Bouquet, absolutely.
The barb.
Immigration department before streamlining.
Oh, the before and after.
Yes, the before and after. Barb bouquet.
Right?
Yes.
Black and white color.
Yeah.
This is it. This is what happens. I think I'll give my bouquet to NTSA, actually, now that we talk about streamlining of services. NTSA, from their online platform, you want to do anything with registration of driving license, renewal of driving license, to transfer of motor vehicle, all that you do seamlessly. And you even had, Rufus, calling from Nakuru and saying, as somebody in the transport industry, getting a TLB license nowadays, comfort of your home, sit, apply, you have it, print it, move on. Before.
Hey.
TLB.
Hey.
Renew DL. Transfer of motor vehicle kwanza. All those documents, put them together, get someone who knows how to get to.
It was always who do you know?
Who do you know?
It had to start with who do you know?
Yes.
First of all, in the DC's office.
Yes.
That's where you used to renew your license. The renewal of license actually was fairly straightforward. You paid, renewed, you moved.
Gone.
Yes. Passport.
Shida mingi.
Might as well have called it a passport.
My barb. If I'm to think of a government institution that I have constant issues with in my head, is this one institution that is by design supposed to have engineers in it.
By
design, engineers are supposed to be people who look for solutions, efficiency.
Engineering is about solutions.
That's it. It's about solutions and efficiency and making sure that you have an efficient system working throughout. And if you're implementing a project, you know that you shall implement this project to the best of your capacity within the shortest time and at cost. This one institution, it has sisters, it has siblings, that I'm just dealing with the big one. Good, gracious God. The Kenya National Highways Authority. I was just thinking about it the other day. You know, from Machakos Junction to Maimahiu Junction, there's a road construction going on. All right?
Yes. Yes.
Between Machakos Junction and Maimahiu Junction. The one between the Kitengela turnoff to Machakos Junction is about 20 kilometers. In 2016, Mashujaa Day, that will be this year, is being celebrated in Kirinyaga County. 2016, it was celebrated in Machakos County.
It was.
On his way to Machakos County, the president stopped by the Kitengela interchange and he launched a new project to expand into dual carriageway, the section between the Kitengela interchange and Machakos Junction.
Indeed.
2016.
Indeed. 5 years ago.
2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20th will be in 6 days. That road is nowhere near completion. Nowhere. 20 kilometers of road.
Not
nowhere.
200. Not
That's
200.
not here to Kangemi beyond.
No. Kangemi is
back,
far.
And back.
From where we are right now, from where we are at.
Let's say JKIA to ABC is 27.
Right, there you go.
Now remove 27 kilometers here up in between. 20 kilometers of road, nowhere near completion. And a huge part of that road is on unoccupied land, right? Between Lukenya and Machakos Junction. It's a ranch on this side, ranches on this side. How many interchanges do they have at Machakos Junction itself? Well, yeah, at Daystar, there's supposed to be some interchange so people can get into the small world and this other side. At Green Park, there's supposed to be some interchange. The river Mtomawe itself, there's supposed to be a bridge that's constructed. There's an existing bridge. At Athi River itself, another bridge to be constructed. At the junction to go to the Mavoko Law Courts, a place called Devki, because there's a Devki steel mill right there. An interchange. None of those interchanges, 5 years down the road, is completed. Expressway, another pain. From ABC Place up to Maimahiu Junction in Rironi, pain. People who live in Kangemi, in Regen, in all that, they have endured untold pain for years.
What about those who live in Westlands along Wayakiwe?
They are enduring pain.
The businesses along that road.
They don't exist.
Yes. Every access you want to that area of Westlands, you have to get to Sarit first. And it's not just get to Sarit. There are man-made passageways along the dual carriageway where you pass through, meaning there were barriers and the Wananchi have removed those barriers. And my friend is Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. No, this one Humpty Dumpty didn't sit on any wall. It's up and down.
There was no wall.
There was no wall. It's up and down and mud and potholes and everything else.
And find your way attitude.
And yet, if you were to look at the blueprint of this particular road, what was planned for, what was budgeted for, my friend, all those things were taken into account.
Yes.
They knew. Their business is here, their residence is here, and plans were made to ensure that with minimum interference to these people's daily lives, they were going to put up that road.
But no. We can count the number of projects that Kenya has started and completed on time and within budget. On time and within budget. The reason I have pain with this institution is, like I said, engineers. Problem solvers, efficiencies. If you can't start and finish a project on time, if you can't start and finish a project on budget, if during the execution of this project people are suffering We talked up to the lady in Syokimau who people in Syokimau dust into their homes. The police line at South B, the ongoing construction, just looking at those houses at the police line in South B, just opposite the Total petrol station,
Yes.
and the South Sea Bridge.
Yes.
Dust. You want to ask yourself, look, for crying out
And
loud.
you know, it's all, it can be mitigated again.
Of course.
I think
it's stuff that
what
they
you've
can-
just said is the most painful part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's
Like,
take a break.
Okay.
Let's take a
Okay.
break. It's 27 minutes after 8. We are live on KTN Home. We are on SpiceFM. And we are live streaming the show. SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We are giving bouquets and barbs today to public institutions from either an arm of government, legislature, executive, the judiciary, or a state department, or just an arm of government. From your experience with these institutions, which one would you give a bouquet and say they have done a good job and I like what they are doing? Which one would you give a barb and say, hey, you can't even pull up your socks. You lost the socks. It's 27 after 8.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
We give you the latest, the funniest, and the most entertaining updates and news from Kenya and the world while you kick back and relax. Join in on our comical duo Hassan Umar and Sugar Boy on Habariza News every Friday at 10 p.m. only on KTN Home.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
The sun is peeking
You're
out through
listening
those clouds
to
in Nairobi
Spice.
at 18, highs of 24 and lows of 14. Mostly cloudy conditions in Nakuru at 17, highs of 24 and lows of 15. We're going to see highs of 23 in a rainy Nyeri town, currently at 16, coming down to lows of 14. And Eldoret is mostly cloudy at 15, highs of 24 and lows of 13. In Mombasa, rain in some parts at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 24, while Malindi is also wet this morning at 27, highs of 30 and lows of 25. In Kisumu, sunny conditions at 21, highs of 29 and lows of 19, while in Kakamega, it's sunny at 22. We'll see lows of 15 and highs of 28. All right, out in Kampala, it's mostly sunny at 21, highs of 29. Johannesburg is sunny at 23 with lows of 16. It'll go to highs of 29, while Dar es Salaam is raining at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Lagos, light rain at 25, that'll be the low, highs of 31. And it's mostly sunny in Kinshasa at 22, going to highs of 33.
Sugar and spice and everything nice, everything nice. SpiceFM.
All right, you see that junction then between Mombasa Road and North Airport Road, that is a little bit of a mess. We have inbound traffic that's going to go the long way, spilling onto Outer Ring and then through either to the city or then connecting with the Thika Superhighway. That's a mess. The accident on Roy Sambu this morning doesn't make things any easier because there's quite some traffic then connecting at the Outer Ring and then onto the Thika Superhighway. So that's a little bit of an issue this morning. Hopefully that can be cleared out without too much of an issue. All right, Bagavi Way still continues to go slow, connecting with Gong Road Aerodrome, which then connects folks from Langata Road to the Uhuru Highway. That is also slow this morning. Langata Road also, we're looking at that heightened traffic. The Southern Bypass looking good. We haven't mentioned that the bypass is in a minute. Northern, a little bit of a problem today. Eastern, looking all right. Southern, looking fine. The Red Hill Link Road will take you out of that mess that is Westlands this morning. Use them. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Kenya's biggest conversation. It continues. 0719-012-600. Please call in and tell us from your experience, which is the worst, the best, let's always start with the positive, the best public institution from the service that they give and the way they treat their clients, or the worst public institution from the job that they do and the way they treat people. Karemi says, I salute chiefs in Kenya. The ones I have interacted with are doing a great job to keep the peace, and I also salute the police.
Mm.
You know, you actually sometimes also forget the chiefs. Yes, there are chiefs who are a chief pain. And then there are chiefs who are very, very good. They provide solutions. So, Karemi, if you cannot just tell us, specific chiefs that you've dealt with, that you say, oh, this particular chief, this is an issue that I had, and they sorted me out, and I walked out there feeling I have faith in government institutions offering service. Or if you have any experience with an institution and you walked out and felt, good God, I want to get out of Kenya tomorrow.
Never want to come back again.
Tomorrow. Maina in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning, SpiceFM.
How are you doing, Maina?
I am well, I am well, thank you.
Okay.
I want to join you, Bob at NTSA, not NTSA, but
Kenha.
What do you call it? Kenha, yes. So, well, you can't say enough about their sluggishness in completing projects, but even more paining is when they decide they're going to recarpet a fairly good road. For example, they'll say, this road is now due for recarpeting, and we want to redo the surface. Mind you, this is for example, I'll give you an example of the bypass behind Ole Sereni.
Yep.
It's a fairly new road. It's not been used for more than 2 years. But recently they decided, we want to recarpet it. And how do they want to do it? They will put loose chippings and tar on top and leave it like that. And then the rest of us will sort ourselves out. So
no signage at all, even warning you the loose chippings
no
on the road.
Signage. Yeah, and I mean, they wouldn't even. My thinking is that that whole process of having loose chippings on the road is old school. That's not the way to do urban roads. So you have accidents. People are screeching as they brake. Motorcycles are ramming into cars because you didn't anticipate loose chippings on the road, unless it's a road in Nairobi. And so, I mean, sometimes Kenya will just outdo themselves in Then they'll take a fairly new road like Thika Road. They say, we want to redo it because it's been used for many years. Okay, no signage whatsoever. In fact, the state of the road after recarpeting is worse than it was before. So you're like, how do they process? How do they think of this thing? Do they have in mind the road users, or they have a budget they have to expedite before maybe some time? I don't know. Kenya is really a pain sometimes.
It's just not considering all the stakeholders. Thank you very much, Maina.
No. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Edwin in Nairobi, good morning.
Morning, Latif. Morning, the co-presenters.
Good morning, my co-presenters. CT and Ndu.
Yes. I want to commend this government institution called the National Council for People with Disabilities.
Okay.
Yes, I went there. I had gone there to register a person with disabilities. Normally, they are supposed to, get an identification card there. I got it actually in under 30 minutes.
Wow.
I was expecting, somebody had told me normally, I don't know, the card takes 2 months to be processed or something. I actually got into the office at 2 p.m. By 3 p.m., I already had the card.
That's good.
Or the person had already been registered. On the flip side, before you get that person registered as a disabled person, you have to get a medical assessment and everything.
Yeah.
So that is where that process is really painful, I'd say. You have to go to a hospital queue. They have to be assessed. That process was very painful and tedious. And then now you have to take those forms to Afia House, wait, I don't know for who to come, who has the rubber stamp. But after I cleared that Afia House process, the National Council for People with Disabilities, yes, I really have to give it up to them.
So in the final steps are seamless. They've been streamlined, but the steps before that are still a headache.
Yes, the medical assessment part.
Yeah.
Because now you you have to take that person to a public hospital. You just can't go to any hospital for them to be assessed whether they are disabled or not. You have to go to a public hospital.
Yeah.
You have to be there very early, line up with other patients. And mind you, that office where they are assessed, I think, closes at around 1 or after lunch they are not there. So you have to be there really early, book yourself in, and then they have to fill for you a form, stamped, and then take the form, take it, and you have to take it yourself to Afia House for it to be stamped by the Director of Medical Services.
Yeah.
And normally that stamping by DMS is only on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think, only.
Wow.
No, but after that, the National Council for People with Disabilities, 30 minutes, I already have the person registered. They have the identification card. And we were good to go.
That's a good story. Thank you very much, Edwin.
Thank you.
Asante sana. John in, where are you, John? Nairobi?
Yes, I'm in Nairobi.
Okay.
Morning, guys.
Good morning,
John.
Yes, there are some of these things you talk about. Somebody who has not gone through them might think that it's almost a joke.
Yes.
Like when you talk, when you say like getting a driving license, renew a driving license was hell in this country. Somebody might not understand.
Yeah.
But it was actually hell. I remember the first time I went to Times Towers. And you see the queue, you don't even know where to start.
Yep.
And there's nobody to give you direction. There's nobody to.
There are no
to direct.
signages. You don't
there
know.
There are no signage.
You go to a queue and then in the final minute you realize this is the final stage.
or you are told this is your e-line, your driving license.
Wow.
In your transfer, your bagari. And you have queued like for 1 hour. So actually, we like NTSA agree that one was a game changer. No, that one was really a game changer. But my beef is with the courts. I don't know if somebody has ever been to the courts. One time the courts.
Law courts, yes.
Mahakama. One time I was arrested in Molo. Some traffic officer believed that I had stepped on a yellow line.
Did the line exist? Let's start there first.
The traffic officer believed that you stepped on a yellow line.
He believed the line existed.
Because I was arrested about 10 kilometers away and I was told, uko nyuma ulikanyaga yellow line. How do you even know if you did it or not? So you are told you're supposed to appear in court after some time.
Yeah.
So I came to Nairobi. I think a week later, that charge sheet, you are told you're supposed to be there at 9.
Yes.
So I leave Nairobi at 4 to be in Molo at 9.
Yep.
I go to court at 9. Do you know, I was in that court until midday.
Yep.
Is when you are called now. So you wonder, why did somebody tell you to go at 9?
Because the same way they believed the yellow line existed, they also believed that the process would start at 9 o'clock.
Court starts at 9, whether it's your case first or your case last.
John, take the view that there were other people who had crossed that yellow line before you.
And there are other matters that this magistrate is dealing with.
Yes.
There's somebody else who has done what in Olengroni, somebody else has done what.
Yes. And then, after that, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you had already paid a bond.
Yep.
I'd paid a bond of, I think, 10,000 shillings. You are fined. I was fined 5,000 shillings. Now, interestingly, that 5,000 shillings, you have to go and pay. You have to go and pay somewhere. Most likely, you are alone.
Yeah.
You are taken in the cells.
Yep.
You go to the cells. The police officers there, they're the ones who will volunteer
to pay for you.
In quote.
No, to go and pay for you.
To pay for you.
Yeah, to go and pay
and
for
it's,
you.
And it's cash.
And this is hoping that you had cash on you.
Yes. So they go and pay for you, volunteer to pay for you in quotes. After they have paid for you, now you start looking for that police officer who has your 10,000, the bond that you had paid to refund you. You just wonder, they can make this. In fact, I was saying, if I'm arrested in Molo, I'm coming to Nairobi, and I'm going to court, and I am going to plead guilty. Why should I go back to Molo? They should just allow me to come to
But John,
Milimani.
on that charge sheet or on that bond, there's a white piece of paper they give you.
Yes.
At the back of it, there is a provision for you to actually admit guilt, sign it, and hand it over.
Yes, but they don't tell you how much to pay. You have to go to court.
Yeah.
Actually, if you if you actually went to court with that piece of paper,
you see now that's the thing. You have to go to court.
Oh, you have to.
Yes.
You have to.
So you are arrested as you're coming down Salga.
Yes.
You are going to Mombasa.
Yes.
You're told you're going to court. Come from Mombasa or Lamu, wherever you are going.
Yes.
It's not the point. The court is in
No,
Molo.
the question I want to ask John, why did you cross the yellow line?
I never saw that yellow line.
Thank you for calling in, John.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day. Becky Kadu says the digitization efficiency at the Immigration Department, they work from 7 to way past 5 p.m. They are doing a good job. Becky gives them a bouquet. And also, Huduma Kenya. That's a Huduma Centers, very efficient. Mutuma Marimba says, worst Huduma number. Second worst, NTSA teams. The one that I said was doing what? Mutuma doesn't feel it. Police bureaucracy in between government departments, especially procurement, repeating of rules and duties. When you are, you're seeking authorization to put up a construction. You go to the chief. I don't know. You go to who? You go to very many offices. You go to just scroll down again. There is going to the National Construction Authority, going to NEMA, and then going to the county government to give you authorization for this. That whole up and down, and those are different offices. It should just be streamlined.
Let me ask this question. This is when you want to put up a building within, say, the precincts of...
Let's say you want to put up a building in Nairobi.
In Nairobi, yes.
Yes.
It doesn't apply to people who want to put up buildings in the rural homes, does it?
That's an interesting question.
We had a person here from the National Construction Authority. Every building.
In the Republic.
In the Republic of Kenya.
I understand that. Tall order.
You get it, huh?
Tall order.
James in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, James?
Very fine, Eric. Good morning, Du. Good morning, Muthui.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Very well. Now, your topic again is topical, very on spot, because there's been a shift in service provision from government institutions, which is a good thing. That doesn't mean that we don't have a few, should I say, individuals who do not ascribe to the new ethos of working. So even at NTSA, you can be on one queue where you have a conscientious public servant who is doing her work or his work, and the person sitting next to them is the old school civil servant. I think there knows them better. He comes, puts his coat, goes, take a cup of tea, catches up with village politics, comes back, clears one file. But that doesn't mean that the entire institution is wrong.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
It's
some
individuals.
individuals in there. But my bar, which I've never understood, is hospitals. Private, public, in between, mission. I don't understand why you walk into a hospital at 8 a.m. You see a doctor at 9:30. There was no emergency in between.
Yep.
You go to a lab. You sit down for an hour to be drawn blood that takes 2 seconds.
Sure.
Then you wait. You'll be leaving there at 4:30 p.m. if you're lucky with your results.
Yes.
If you're very lucky. I don't understand how hospitals...
It's a painful exercise just going to hospital.
Yes, and you just see people there walking up and down, looking like
Who should
they're
be
very
seated
busy,
doing the job.
And who should be seated doing the job. It's moving people. It cannot be that difficult.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, James, I hear you. I mean, you're looking at processes from, maybe you're discharged, right? And then you need to go and get your invoice sorted out, after which you can then go to pharmacy.
Exactly.
From when you pay, from when you have finished at the invoicing, getting to pharmacy is like an extraterrestrial experience. There are people who should be dispensing drugs at pharmacy who, like you said, are sitting in a corner having a cup of tea and talking with Beatrice about what happened yesterday. And there's a line of 1,000 people here waiting. One person is getting a sachet of Panadol, another person is waiting for their whole, and they're sitting, chatting in a public facility.
And all this time.
Yeah.
And all this time, public facilities, but private facilities.
Yep.
And all this time, woe unto you if you go the day after Man U has played Liverpool. Arsenal. You are sunk. You are totally sunk. And you tell a guy, excuse me, please, I was discharged at 10 a.m. in the morning. I want to go home.
I want to go home. It's lunchtime.
The quicker you get me out of this bed, the quicker you start making money from the bed again.
Yes.
It is it's a common sense
no-brainer
for me, and I just really don't understand. So, the BAPS hospitals really need to just wake up and style up. My bouquet goes to my colleagues in the public service. The good ones, the bad ones, will catch up with them slowly by slowly. You don't change an entire village. You cannot convert an entire village into a religion. Wholesale. You do it individual by individual, and hopefully, the majority, like is currently happening, see the light and ensure that you join a service.
But James, if I can just chime in here and say, even in those public institutions where we have some good people who wake up and they are dedicated and committed to doing the work, and then there are some bad apples, if the leadership is not aligned to service delivery, you are going to have many of those bad apples getting away with it. To the much frustration of those who are actually getting up to go and do a good job.
It always starts from the top. And you'll hear people, why should I exert myself if my guy here next to me is going to hang around, and at the end of the day, our pay slips read the same.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So, but anyway.
That's true. Thank you very much, James.
The world we live in. Thank you very much.
Asante sana for calling. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, sir.
Korea in Nyeri.
Hey, morning, guys. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Korea.
Good morning.
Now, mine goes direct to the agriculture sector.
Huh?
Some of us.
What is going there? A bouquet or a barb?
Yes, pardon?
What are you taking to the agricultural sector? A bouquet or a barb?
Good
or bad?
Terrible.
Okay.
No, some of us, Eric, some of us are young professional graduates who are entirely dedicated to the changing of the old narrative that farming is slavery. We did not get education. We got learned, then we came back to try and at least change the community. I will give you an example. Now, agriculture, let us say agriculture contributes to a large part of GDP,
Yep.
But you imagine, did we devolve the word agriculture, or we devolve the functions of agriculture? I don't get.
Why?
Because if we devolve agriculture, why is it that in my village, onions are at the lowest price as we speak? Yet, nilitoka kazi hapo Cabanas hapo nyuma yenu, nikakuja huku mashinani kulima. Unalima unasikia mzee akikuuliza, my friend, are you a misguided bullet? you sit and wonder what went where. I visited one of the agricultural offices in Nyeri town. And I asked them, please, can I get an agricultural extension officer in my sub-county or in my village? Up to today, that character has never arrived in that area. Even a simple basic thing like soil testing that you remember.
Do they exist? Does Nyeri County have agricultural extension officers?
I think they exist in quotes. You get my reasoning. They exist in quotes.
Okay.
So now imagine I want a person who will help me in soil testing, such that I can produce the cabbages that I keep on advertising on news there, only for them to have a 0.7 kgs instead of 6 kgs. Instead of changing that narrative, mine to me, maybe I will tell Munya, even you guys when you are seated there, someone has a background of farming, either sugar plantation, fish farming, cattle rearing. I mean, you see, but then we refuse to, or not we refuse, we want to change that narrative that farming can also be a blue collar job. It can be something that, I mean, you have a tie and you're out on the farm.
Yep.
But a simple thing like soil testing, the pricing, importation of fertilizers. Eric, do you know if you go to these cereal boards and you get their fertilizers, my friend, and you apply them in your farm, I don't want to dash your hopes, but my friend, you try, then you tell me later.
Can I ask you a question, if I may, yeah? Your neck of the woods, where you come from, would you say the people there are self-sufficient in food?
They are self-sufficient.
Good. Now,
but
please go ahead.
They are self-sufficient, but I will tell you this morning, right now, this 50 kg sack of potatoes, it is costing at 600 shillings. I'm assuming my grandfather or even my parent has gone to the farm and got around 40 bags from a half an acre.
Yes.
He or she doesn't have a place or a point to sell. Yet the county government is just looking at that parent or that old parent there, not helping that person. There is surplus, and we can even have surplus.
Let me explain to you why I asked the question.
Yep.
Let me explain to you why I asked the question. You see, you are absolutely right in the point of view that you have, and you are absolutely right in directing your barbs at the Ministry of Agriculture. Because this is the story of our times. We have parts of the country that produce more food than they can consume, and they need to actually find a market for it. Then you have other parts of the country where they have no food.
Yep.
They do not need the food. Now, surely, this ministry ought to have been at the forefront of ensuring that these two dichotomies are evened out or balanced out.
You see, Malim, I think you are pregnant with my thought. Imagine if Yolo or Lodo or Turkana is just right the angle, and you get these guys cannot even come and buy these potatoes from the parents.
Exactly.
And pick them there. You see,
from where you are, Laikipia, Samburu, Isiolo, Meru are in the counties that people are facing food shortage and starvation.
Today.
Surely, Eric, do we need a doctor to come all the way from India to teach us basic knowledge, my friend?
Get your point. Thank you very much, Kuria. Let's hear from Joseph before we say goodbye to our audience on KTN Home. Joseph, good morning.
Morning, Eric, Ndu and City.
Good morning, sir.
My bouquet goes to the Department of Registration of Births and Deaths. Two of my kids were born outside the country, and I recently needed to convert their birth certificates. And I walked in, and within 3 hours, I already had the converted birth certificates, which is unusual. I expected to take days to do that.
Right.
So certainly that is a very positive thing. For me, the BAB go to the Ministry of Water and Sanitation. I live in Ogata Rongai, and it's really horrible here. A big city with no sewer, no storm drainage. It's certainly a nightmare when it rains. And we depend on exhausters to take away our sewer. So it's certainly an eyesore when it rains, and it's
and I
pretty
think also
terrible.
this one, the BAB also goes to the county government of Kajiado.
Certainly, yes.
Yes, so they share that. We talk about a sewer system not working in Ongata Rongai. You know, Ongata Rongai, go to Kitengela. Joseph, I feel you. I feel your pain. Thank you very much for your call this morning.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Asante. Kenya's biggest conversation continues. It's 5 minutes to 9. You've been watching this on KTN Home. You can switch over. The conversation continues on SpiceFM 94.4 if you're in Nairobi, Mombasa 87.9, 102.5 Kisumu, Nakuru 96.0, Eldoret 96.7, Nyeri 90.9, and Malindi 97.7. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
All right, we continue taking your calls. Zachary has been on the line holding for a while. Zachary, thank you for holding. Good morning.
Oh, thank you. I have to. Now, how is everyone there?
Everyone is fine.
We're fine, Zachary.
I know for some days you have missed me.
Yeah, of
Where
course.
have you been and why are you like that?
But let me tell you something, yeah? For the last 1 week, I've peeped into the lives of, do you know these guys who are called visiting professors? Oh, I've enjoyed their fringe benefits. Because I am going somewhere, or visiting gynecologists, yeah? They are regarded as if they know the exact time when Jesus is going to come or when the sun shall actually collapse, yeah? Because they...
Zachary, have you become a gynecologist?
I mean, in the short time that we know you.
Or have you become a visiting professor?
Something like that, you know?
All right, tell us about it.
Baribo, I know you have lived such a life, yeah?
Of a visiting gynecologist.
You are regarded highly. Now, actually, I hope everyone is there is okay, and I'm happy, and I have been following the program. And I'm happy. I'm happy that today I have, let me call these guys so that they don't say that I abandoned them, yeah?
You've done well. Thank you very much for calling, Zachary.
Now, the guys whom I would give the you are calling them the bouquet.
Yes.
Let me say the people, the nurses, the doctors who are actually in the government and they are trying to actually fight this menace called COVID-19, yeah? Like where I went for my vaccination, the ministry also sent me a message.
You finally went. Good man.
Congratulating me, and I have not had anybody congratulating them. I actually congratulate them, and they should get the bouquet.
Very good. Who gets the barb?
The barb goes to any government official who prize on our wives, yeah, using their power, or the small girls. And,
Did you say wives? Prize on our wives.
They do, especially here on the ground in the villages. They are there, they do
Zachary,
themselves.
what are you on about?
Eric.
Hey, my goodness.
Eric.
Yes.
Eric, let me tell you this, yeah?
20 seconds, Zachary, top of the hour.
Even you, when you are elevated to well, you're appointed to a government position, yeah? First of all, you'll be calling the government. We government, yeah?
We in government.
We government are doing this, and let me tell you, that is the time that you are going to notice, there are other beautiful women, yeah?
Have a good day, Zachary. Kenya's biggest conversation, it continues. It's now 9 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire Dennis Asete. Former NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion has blamed the Jubilee government for cracking down on teachers' unions. In an interview with KTN News, Sossion claimed that the Jubilee leadership had been using some members of the teachers' unions to stir up tension among themselves and thus cripple efforts to fight for their interest. Sossion has also accused NAT Secretary General Colin Soyu of being a puppet of the government and not defending teachers.
One of the biggest problems we have seen within the Jubilee administration is busting of unions. And what Jubilee has been doing is to bring strikes completely to an end. And they started with KNUT, then they came to the medical unions by switching off union dues, something that has never been done. If you switch off union dues, it means you've denied the workers their right to belong to a union.
Governors have opposed Commission of Revenue Authority's proposal to maintain county budget allocations at 370 billion shillings in the next financial year. In a statement from the Council of Governors, the governors called for the rate to be increased as the central government is also expected to raise more funds in the 2022-2023 financial year. According to the budget estimates for the year, the government will collect 2.147 trillion shillings, an increase from 1.897 trillion shillings. According to Nyeri, the chairman of the Finance Committee in the Council of Governors, although the CRA has cited the upcoming general election among the issues contributing to the budget increase, the issue should not affect operations in the county. Now, police have launched a manhunt for Agnes Tirop's killer. KO North Police boss Tom Makori said the world 10,000 meters bronze medalist was found dead with stab wounds on the neck.
Damu imemweka chini ambao sio kidogo. Wakati waliangalia mwili ni kama amedungwa kitu kwa shingo, ambao tunajaribu kusema ya kwamba ende ikawa ni kitu kama kisu, na tunajaribu kuamini kutokana na hiyo ilifanya apate hicho kifo chake. Bwana yake mpaka saa hii hajapatikana. Ile tunaita preliminary investigation ya kuonyesha ya kwamba bwana yake ni kama amehusika kwa sababu hapatikani.
Milka Chamos is Athletes Kenya representative.
We lack words to say. As an athlete representative, I feel so painful to talk about this. The sister that I've been talking to, and as athletes, we are so sad.
We go to Kwale County, where the Kwale County Security Department has identified the emergence of a new criminal gang that is harassing locals in Msambweni. Kwale Police Commander Steve Olo said police were conducting a manhunt to arrest the suspects. It has been revealed that the gang has been committing crimes after participating in various football matches. Olo say they have already banned all football activities in Msambweni. According to Olo, the gang may be among those that had been harassing locals in Mombasa County but fled to Kwale to hide. Police in Nairobi have intensified their search for Masten Milimo Wanjala, the main suspect in the murder of 13 children who escaped from custody. Wanjala, who confessed to killing the children in various parts of Nairobi and Bungoma County, disappeared from the Jogoo police station, Nairobi, in a controversial manner. Questions continue to be asked about how Wanjala, who was detained for so long, disappeared from the police station. Now, one of the biggest US ports will start operating 24 hours a day to try to clear long queues of cargo ships stuck waiting outside. It comes as officials scramble to ease global supply issues that may lead to goods shortages this Christmas. The port of Los Angeles in California will handle more goods at night after a similar move by nearby Long Beach port. Major US firms have also committed to increasing their round-the-clock operations to help clear the jam. To sports, and Wales and Bournemouth midfielder David Brooks has revealed he has been diagnosed with cancer. The 24-year-old said he has stage 2 Hodgkin lymphoma, but that the prognosis is a positive one and will start treatment next week. Brooks, who has won 21 Wales caps, was on international duty last week and credits the Wales medical team for helping detect the illness. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Yikes, Uhuru Highway has done its thing, guys, and belly up traffic this morning in both directions. So if you're on Uhuru Highway and you're trying to get to Mombasa Road, so let me give you a don't stick to Uhuru Highway. Take a turn off there at Bunyala, go the long way, get onto Enterprise, and then you'll be on Mombasa Road like a breeze. It's like a dream. Experience it, and then let us know. Gong Road, all the way up past Woodley, past that area, there's traffic and it's snaking along, getting towards the roundabout at the City Mortuary, and then on towards Community, and then out towards Haile Selassie. That's very slow this morning. Within the CBD, that's a whole mess. Let's look at that whole Kileleshwa area going towards Westlands. Really crazy. Getting off Wayaki Way. So if you want to get off Wayaki Way with a few scratches, get onto the Red Hill Link Road. All right? It might be more damage if you stay there. We're also looking at coming out of the Thika Superhighway area, coming into the city right around the overpass at the Globe Cinema. That is a mishmash, total mess. Landys Road, coming off from Jogoo Road. Jogoo Road, not so bad. It's given all and regurgitated that traffic onto Landys Road. That's what we're looking at right now. Aerodrome Road, absolutely packed. Coming off Mombasa Road, another packed situation. We're not out of traffic hour yet, but hopefully in the next 30 minutes we will be. Let us know where you might be stuck. SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start
7
your
after
day.
9. How are you? Let's begin the hour with the day's proverb.
When you are given some stew and you add water, you must be wiser than the cook.
When you're given some stew and you add water.
Maybe it was not enough.
It was too thick.
Oh, it was not enough. Maybe you given the stew, you want to share it with Eric. It's not going to go.
Remember
So
this.
ask for more.
You remember this is a proverb, huh? Okay. This is not a nutritional
For
opening
interpretation.
for discussion. Huh?
For personal interpretation.
Yeah. And she's a person.
And I'm interpreting.
Personally.
All right, interpreter. What do you interpret from this?
So the reason why you're adding water, it could be that you're trying to, tinker with the taste or the flavor of the stew. Not necessarily. Maybe you've been given this stew and you're going to go share it with people and you've seen, okay, this might not quite get to everybody. So, make it a little bit thinner to go wider.
Why didn't you just cook your own stew?
I was not able, that's why I was given, because I couldn't.
Wameongeza maji.
Do it, Tosh. Do it, Tosh.
How many instances do you hear people saying wameongeza maji?
Actually, if you went to boarding school, depending on the boarding school you went to,
Do you see now?
the story would be not wameongeza maji, hii ni maji.
Imagine wameongeza stew.
It is water. Whether it's supposed to be the soup, the stew, the it's maji. Whether it's tea, cocoa, whatever they want to call it, ni maji.
Yep.
Yes.
Colored
People
water.
who have been in the system that we're talking about at 7, whether from police cells to remand or to prison, maji.
Yes. It's just that some have should we say, a small suggestion of
Flavor.
Sugar suggestion. Salt in plenty. That only, there's no question about it. You will have more salt than you actually think or need.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of comments have come in on the conversation that we were having earlier. Like, hey, what is this handle? Wochi. Wusi. Wochi. Says, I have an issue with the lands registries across the country. These guys never explain anything to you. They expect you to know the processes and they don't have customer care desks to assist. I think this is intentional to frustrate you so that one parts with kitu kidogo. So you're going somewhere and you have all these documents. I mean, it's it's about land. You want to you do not want to do the wrong thing and that land ends up in somebody else's hands. So you're asking, unajaza hapo. They don't give you that nice explanation. And he says, land registries around the country. Same person says, I have an issue with immigration. Same immigration that's been praised. I have an issue with immigration. Nowadays, they are slipping to their old habits. The system is clogged. It's like in the courts, if you want to have your fingerprint taken, you have to wait for more than 30 days. I thought passports should take less than 2 weeks.
Let's pay heed to what this individual is saying. Maybe they can talk to us about the experience. You see, I think when people comment, they're talking about their experience.
Their experience,
Yes.
Yep.
And we will also ask the question, where did you go to try and get your passport?
Done. Yeah. Which
center
did you try and have this done?
But you see, always you'll do the center that's closest to you. I mean, there's no point of me.
Today I go to this one and then tomorrow I go to another
trying
one.
to do a center in Meru. I mean, surely it's going to cost me a lot of money. to travel to Meru.
It is true. It is true. But why I mentioned the center is because you then pinpoint the problem. Because if you just say immigration, then you're talking about the entire system.
Right.
Yes.
And then, this is true because within the same immigration, there are different things that you need at different times, right?
Yes.
It could be a payment issue. It could be a process issue. It could be an individual issue. Like I won't forget the certain lady who was at the aliens department. Oh my God, she was a beautiful individual to deal with. Made sure that you come, you present your things, you do your fingerprints, take your picture. She tells you, come check after 21 days. 21 days, like magic, boom, it is there. And she would be the one to sort of go to the other side. Same department, a different process that has to do something with what you're trying to get. And that individual just couldn't be bothered. Whether you've come from Mars, whether you've come from Meru, whether you've come from...
Shauri yako.
Doesn't matter. You don't feel like working today. You will get nothing. And you will wait. If you're not ready to wait for me to serve you, you can as well go.
Shauri yako.
The others here I'll work with. Same department.
Shauri yako. So people get frustrated. I mean, we're all going through different things at the same time in life.
But Eric, there's a gentleman who called in, and the point he made was really to the point in this regard. He hit the proverbial nail on the head. He said, look, when you talk about the civil service, when you talk about government, when you talk about there are individuals who do what they're supposed to do and do it well, then there are others who now gave the institutions a bad name. You see, unfortunately, people persist in doing the things that they do because they know full well that there are no consequences. And the consequences I refer to here are adverse. They do wrong because there are consequences, but the consequences in their minds are positive and beneficial to them. But if the consequences were actually adverse, I doubt if someone would persist in pursuing a line of thought or work if they don't derive any benefit from it. I doubt it.
That's true. Somebody complaining about Kenya Power. Starting with the worst public institution, Kenya Power.
And he stops there.
That's it.
That tells you the experience they've had in Kenya Power.
I'm not going to explain anymore because I'll feel pain that I don't want to feel.
Start and end Kenya Power. And Mutuma says about kuongeza maji, pombe ya Afco. Haulewi haraka. It's cheap.
It goes the saying, mgema akisifiwa, pombe.
Tembo hulitia maji.
Yes.
City, there's something that you said that was profound a couple of weeks back. And
I only said one thing which was profound.
One thing that you said that was profound. And you were done. That was it for the year. So let's just keep repeating it.
Okay.
That thing of when you meet with somebody and you ask them, how are you? And they tell you, I'm fine. And you end that conversation there. So you just move on to the next thing in life, Yeah, start talking about other things. You do not want to know whether really how they are.
No. You really have no wish to know whether they haven't paid their rent. You do not wish to know that their children are sick or they've quarreled with the wife. Do not wish to know if they have a funeral in the family. And more so, you do not wish to know if they're doing well at whatever they're doing. No.
What?
Your function is to appear or to give the impression that you, yes, exactly, and do that you care and that you are on good terms with this individual.
Right.
Okay? And so the question is just a goodwill gesture. And you must not read too much into it and start saying, actually, the other day, I slipped and fell down. No.
No, you actually mustn't stop and start to tell how you are.
No, they don't really want to know all these things. Okay? So you leave it at that. But the question that actually maybe I ought to have asked is, why are we like that really?
You know why? Because there's unconscious salient that you too have a mountain of issues that you really cannot listen or you don't have the extra mental space to start to take on somebody else's baggage.
But Ndu,
honestly.
Ndu,
whether you admit it or not.
I agree with you, but you see, even as you're saying it, I'm thinking a greeting in town is not the same as a greeting in rural areas. Because when you greet someone in the rural areas, you actually stop. You shake hands, you chat. That's a greeting. Even when someone is passing by, you wave, and there'll be some 5 seconds when there's a little back and forth and chat. Okay? Well, how is so and so? The other day they were this and this. How about this and the other? There is that chat. But if you actually meet face to face, you stop. And you actually have a conversation. That's how are you doing? So what is it about an urban setting that makes this differ with a rural setting? Where in a rural setting, you know all your neighbors, even with their names. You even know how many cows they have.
It's the rat race in Cement City. That's what it is. It's that you came here to look for, or whatever it is that what made you decide to look for better livelihood, get some money that you would essentially then send back to said rural area. But it becomes that fast-moving, fast-paced society where your care for individuals or your care for people, got thrown out the window. That you're not really concerned about that. You're concerned about survival. At that point, it is survival. How am I going to survive? So in as much as I would care for you as another human being, I'm not really concerned because the same things that would affect you, guess what? They're affecting me too. When I'm looking at the high fuel prices, when I'm looking at the fact that I may not be able to send my children to school, that I may not even have enough money to buy the very basic minimum of the things that they need going to said school, that maybe I'm have to consider today having 2 meals instead of 3, that I'm going to have to consider today having 1 meal instead of 2 or 0 at night, when I would normally be able, previously I would have been able to afford that. So when I'm asking you, how are you? I'm paying you the basic courtesy. I am not expecting you to start telling me how you are because I have my own.
Don't lump your issues onto me.
No. Because, my dear, my mental capacity right now is overflowing with my own. It's overflowing. So how are people right now? Honestly speaking, I can wear a smile, but it's, part of the rest of my outfit. And I'm going to take it off later when I get down and dirty and have to deal with the realities of life today.
That's why if some language has also just developed in the country, tuna survive too. Navumilia. Niko tu.
Na hustle.
Yeah.
Na struggle.
Yeah. Hustling. Mi naendelea tu na hustle yangu.
Then there's navumilia.
Navumilia. Or niko tu. Tuko tu. How are you? Tuko tu.
I think there's a lot of truth in those answers.
Yep.
There's a lot of truth in those statements.
The Nico too is the one which actually grasps me fully.
Yeah, you're just hanging.
Me, I'm just
somewhere here.
Surviving.
In some opacity. Yes.
I'll open my mouth and, flare my nostrils in order to breathe.
Yep.
But don't expect me to do anything more beyond that. Yes, no.
You pictured it.
Yes, I was actually picturing the picture of a bull.
Just so that I can survive, because, things are so hard that I might even forget to take a breath at some point.
So,
Is that not the reality that we're dealing with? So it's a conscious effort to stay alive. It's a conscious effort to say, oh, come on, guys. We should have been operating in this space where folks are making it a little bit more easier for us to survive. But here you are tasked with the responsibility of survival, and then you must find the things to make this process of survival happen.
I know sometimes people just need an outlet. Right? Just an outlet where city as a councillor, is it that, somebody will just come and they'll talk about everything that's going on about them, or will people tend to bring out the issue that they feel completely is the one that most vexes them, or the one where they can pinpoint and say, this is the one I can blame for everything else in my life?
People go through life mostly presenting not what is happening to them as you asked, but what you see is their coping mechanism, the manifestation of the coping mechanism. The I am fine is a coping mechanism. And part of the reason is because most of us, let me not talk about the third person, most of us human beings, including me, have no wish whatsoever to undress ourselves in public and let people know exactly what we are going through.
Yep.
We prefer to live with this image we have presented, And the I am well is the sum total of it.
Yeah.
That I am well is I am coping with life, everything is okay, and the image you see is exactly what it is.
Yep.
Even if I'm just one step away from hunger, I want you to get the impression that I have more food than I know what to do with.
Yeah.
Even if I'm one step away from being chased away from my house, I want you to get the impression that I've paid rent for the next 12 months.
This is true.
Okay.
This is very interesting, CT, as you're saying this. I had a conversation with Mwashumbe at Radio Maisha the other day. And he said to me, do you know how many people today are one salary away from being slum dwellers?
Yep.
People in the middle class today.
Yep.
If you don't get your salary this month, you will be living with your family in a one room,
And if
not
you don't
one
get
bedroom.
it, you don't get it. If you don't get it on time, don't just get it
That you
on
will
time.
have to leave. And he said to me, you know what? Quite a number of people who are living, just like you're saying, this plastic behind the glass kind of existence. And they've had an opportunity to say how bad it is. Because there was this hullabaloo about fuel prices, right? And everybody joined the forum, fuel prices. But people sitting in their closets thinking, my God, I will not be able to service I will not be able to drive my vehicle this month. Then I'll have to do the dreaded thing of take public service, public transport. Can you imagine? I'll have to do the dreaded thing of thinking, okay, maybe we shall not have meat.
But then
we shall not have the extras.
Do you know the public service
That
issue?
statement for me, one paycheck away from being a slum dweller.
We saw it last year.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
We did. With the COVID salary cuts. Hey! It was traumatic, was
Just
it not?
COVID pay cut, just the pay cut, people have to adjust their lifestyle in such a drastic
By
manner.
25%.
Such a drastic manner. Just, being told, all right, so we can't afford to have you in an employer anymore.
Yeah.
Just that. And immediately you've got to change. It's a reality. It's what we're dealing with, how we are living today. So when someone comes and says, well, yes, City, look, you also do not want to be the one person who goes exposing yourself throughout. I mean, that's why there's a reason people wear put on clothes.
There is a very, very good reason why people...
And that's why we talk about when you go to a counselor, it's a safe space.
Yes. You're guaranteed confidentiality.
And then there's confidentiality. And that's the one thing that you're looking for. Confidentiality. And what I tell you remain with you?
Yes.
Or am I going to start hearing it? So I saw a post actually on social media yesterday. This country, you tell somebody your problems, the next thing you're seeing their social media, their social media update. Hey, watu wako na shida hii Kenya. And you have just, they have not said anything about you, but you've just shared something with them. And what you consider to be an issue that you're struggling with, that you're dealing with. Their next social media post update,
but
people are struggling out there.
Do you know why people do that, Eric? Because they also want to give the impression that them they're okay.
Yes.
They are not among these people.
They're
who have this
self-validating.
Yes, exactly.
I am not the only one. Yes. It's actually going to say, I'm not the only one, but I'm not saying I'm among the people. It's just saying, ukiona watu uko nje.
But also remember that one of the things that people really dread is rejection. People really dread being rejected. You are in a social circle, you take it further, you're in a social class, you have presented yourself as being a certain type of person. The fear of you being seen in any other light other than that, it is far more dreaded than you actually imagine. Why do you think, for instance, it is that we keep speaking about how it is the morning after pill is a very popular drug at pharmacies on Fridays and maybe on Mondays? Because people fear pregnancies more than they fear diseases.
Yes.
And what is it about pregnancy? It manifests itself.
It does. And it comes with responsibility.
Yes, and that is the thing that you do not want. Human beings need to be significant. If you look at the people you relate to well, you will find that there are people who consider you and treat you as being significant. And one of the best ways of manifesting significance is they give you time. Meaning, say, if you have something to say, they will likely pay attention and listen. But most people want you to keep quiet as quickly as possible so that they can also tell you what they want. So you find you're in the same position. They have a need to be significant, as do you. Now, the problem is, when these two needs meet, there's going to be a collision. Why does this person think they're more important than me? One may not voice it, but
it's not always about you.
Yes, precisely. Now, in a situation such as the one we find ourselves in Kenya, with the image and the belief that we have a growing middle class, the reality is we don't have this growing middle class as people assume. What we have is a group of people who've learned to consume visibly. It's called conspicuous consumption in economic terms. And all of it, if not most of it, is hankered on receiving a certain salary, and also our economy growing to the point where credit is easily available. So I can own a car, so it appears. I can own a house, so it appears, but I am paying for it. Now, the moment that job goes, then all these things will go up in like smoke, poof, gone. So it is dependent on the job. So when you see the hassles at the job place, where people seem to have this cutthroat mindset of what they do, how they do it, what they should earn, and who might take their job, and who and this and the other, this survival. It's all goes back to this very same thing. And this belief that since I'm in the middle class, I must continue living and believing that I am there, and people must see me as such. And then the other trappings of it, where your children go to school, where you live, what you eat. My friend, it is one huge trap. Because you know what? What it represents at best is aspiration. So the only reality in that equation is the aspiration, not the reality itself.
Not the reality.
No, not really.
So what do you to open up? What to open up this morning? You know, you are our family. You tune into us every day. You contribute to our conversations. Let's just ask one another. How are you? What are you dealing with? What areas are you finding, that you are really struggling with, and what are you excelling in? You can just have those conversations. You can call in 0719-012-600. Let's hear. What are you dealing with? What's going on? What is just too much? This is the term. This is the week where children are going back to school. There's school fees. There is rent. There's looking for opportunities. There's reducing chances. Even in those days when there are many side hustles are reducing. Now we are going into that cycle again of a political cycle where spending also reduces. So is there money in circulation? Are you okay? Are you doing well? Are you able to, how are you handling with family and all? Sometimes because of the financial struggle, the social side also suffers.
Absolutely.
A lot, especially at the family level, family front.
Mental health.
The mental health.
Kicks
You're
in.
just struggling and you're wondering, all right, so what next? What do I do next? Not that we have solutions, but just at an opportunity. Just vent. Open up. Just vent. Say how you are. 0719-012-600. The lines are open. Let's just talk to one another. The question we are asking you this morning, how are you? How are you? And don't say, I'm fine, if you're not. And if you say, I'm fine, go ahead and qualify that. I'm fine. I'm fine today. Today is a better day than yesterday. Or today I appreciate this and that side of life. There are people who actually now are appreciating something. You've just gone through a difficult session. You've come out of it and you start appreciating what you have. You have been unwell. Now you're better. You start appreciating what you have. You have been critically ill. Now you're better. Your perspective changes. You start looking at things and you recategorize what's important and what's not. Someone can call and tell you, I'm alive. To them, that's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
We want to hear, how are you this morning? 0719-012-600 as we take this quick break. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
From 2019, she has stayed with 6 different people. You know, we are saving money. There's no need for him to be renting in this side, me
and I'm renting this side.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes this is an avenue for women to con men. Let me just be very honest with you people. Today we are talking about performing marriage duties while you're still dating. Why are you paying rent and this is not your wife? We need to start holding each other accountable. For those people who are dating, learn to buy your own bed.
The only way to live your best life is to create a balance between work, love, and play. The Adults in the Room is the only show on radio dedicated to educating Kenyans on how they can stay winning in life and in love. Text the word adult to 22840 to get the latest clips from Adults in the Room directly to your mobile phone. SMS adults to 22840.
Sugar and spice and everything nice.
All right, partly cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 19, highs of 24 and lows of 14. Nakuru cloudy at 19, highs of 24, lows of 15. 14 will be the low in Nyeri. Light rain at 18 now, going to highs of 23. Eldoret is cloudy at 18, highs of 24 and lows of 13. In Mombasa, partly sunny conditions at 28, highs of 30 and lows of 24. We're looking at Malindi to be light rain as well at 29, highs of 30 and lows of 25. In Kisumu, sunny at 22, highs of 29 and lows of 19, while in Kakamega it's sunny as well at 23. We'll see lows of 15 and highs of 28. Kampala is mostly sunny at 23, highs of 29. And in Dar es Salaam, light rain at 28, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Johannesburg is sunny at 24, 16 will be the low, highs of 29. And Lagos, raining at 25 now, 31 the high. And in Kinshasa, it's mostly cloudy at 23. We'll see highs of 33. Let's take a look at Beijing, where it's sunny at 20, highs of 21 and lows of 13. And in London, it is 13 and mostly cloudy, highs of 17 and lows of 12. Considerably cooler in Paris at 4, highs of 17. And in New York, coming into Thursday morning, 18 degrees and clear, highs of 25 and lows of 18.
Spice up your life.
All right, still continues, especially on Uhuru Highway this morning, and we have a lot of traffic feeding in from different areas onto Uhuru Highway and into the CBD as well. The industrial area circuit, Lunga Lunga, Lusaka, Likoni, that still has some traffic, and we're also looking on the other side of things, going south, Langata Road. Cooling down a little bit, but then getting towards that roundabout, still quite heavy. Gong Road, Bagavi Way, my goodness, today that's the place, and a lot of traffic here as well. Let's look at Thika Superhighway. Kiambu Road's still a thing, getting a little bit better on the highway, but then where they meet is where the drama continues. All right, out of traffic hours soon. Let's see what it looks like through most of the morning. Should anything get sticky, let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text on 40127.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It's 36 minutes to 10. This conversation continues in the Situation Room. Is Eric Latiff, Ndu Okoh, CT Muga. So, how are you? We're seeing very many things happening in the country. So, remember Lawrence, the caller that we spoke to at about 7:30, and he was telling us his own experience with the landlady.
Yes.
COVID happens, unable to pay rent a couple of days. Everything has been seized and, been what's the word?
Confiscated.
Impounded.
Yes.
By the landlady. Since then, even your crucial documents like academic papers and all of that impounded, and you have to deal with it. And as far as the landlady is concerned, you clear your debts, and I give you what I have. There are people who have this going through the same with Shylocks, people who are going through the same, even with friends and family, people who are going through the same with the financial institutions. You know, you've taken a mobile loan and you have not been able to pay, and you have been blacklisted. You were on the CRB, so you cannot even access any more credit because your credit rating has dropped. All these things are issues that people are dealing with. How are you? That's the question we were asking. 0719-012-600. Joseph Ombogo in Juja. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Eric.
How are you, Joseph?
I'm fine. What I'm trying to tell people is to or something to do, and not to entertain themselves in bar. Wakati unaishi hauna pesa na unataka kwenda kuishi maisha mazuri pale kwa bar, pengine unamaliza pesa zako. Mtu anataka raha na anataka kuishi vizuri. Mtu anafaa ajipange vizuri wakati anaishi vizuri.
Mtu ajipange. Umejipanga?
Mimi okay, ile shida ipo. Wakati tulikuwa hatuna chochote cha kukula. Mtu alikuwa na sacrifice. Unanunua kaplot mahali somewhere.
Alafu
sasa unaona hiyo shida ya kwenda uweze kwenda kwa Waislamu sababu uko na utafiti umeishi kwako.
Ulikuwa umeinvest before.
Hata siku university ilikuwa 2 or 3. Wakati mtu ange vitu ilikuwa cheap.
Yes.
Na kama jana Mr. Putin, president of Russia, ameambia Europe wajipange sababu walikuwa na wakati wa kununua mafuta wakati wa COVID. Nakumbuka jana kitu ya kuambia nini? Sasa mtu anafaa jipange, si kuenda kwa baa wakati unafaa ujipange.
Lakini kuna swali nimekuuliza, Joseph.
Niulize.
Wewe saa hizi uko sawa? Siwezi kusema niko sawa sana. Lakini naweza kusema najimudu. Unajimudu? You're living by, you're getting by.
I'm getting by.
Okay. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Karanja?
Yes, how are you, sir?
I want to ask you that question. How are you?
I'm not fine. But I still jikokota and I'm waiting on the muddy side,
Unajikokota.
Why are you not fine, Brother Karanja?
I'm not fine because of this. This issue of CRB is the biggest phenomena. Given the fact that some of us, like me myself, I have rented some areas where I used to practice agriculture. Especially in areas, my zone is more there. Then, we survive the buy. You go and borrow a new one. You fix the old one. Then you are back in a kidogo. Then you continue.
Yes.
Then from there you go and pay the other one.
You borrow again, a bit more.
You borrow again. You pay the other nini. The other loan.
Yes.
Yes. Then you continue. Then it is worsening when you go to this microfinance institution and you are told you cannot wezi jaza loan hapa ikiwa huko kwa CRB. That is the biggest thing that we are now suffering with.
Because now it has hindered you from accessing that credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there was that caller who was saying that he wanted his cabbages to be 6 kg and he only ended up being 1.5 kg.
Yes.
Let me advise that caller. Nowadays we don't rely on the extension officers. What he should do is whenever he finds that the cabbages have some, we call them brassicas. Whenever he finds them, they have some problems. Anachukua simu yake anapiga picha. Kuna namba inakuwaga kwa kila pakiti. Kama ni DCD ya Simiros, Africa Seeds, anapiga hiyo picha alafu ana advertise online. Anaambiwa this is what you have to do. If it is a case of black root, brosomedrot kwa tomatoes, odremidiu, hiyo yote ata-advise na vile ata-administer dawa yenye atatumia.
That's true. That's very true.
Asante mwambie jisidi atiangalie station officer.
Wachana na hiyo maneno.
Achana na hiyo. Sasa
Adil na extension officer wa the supplier.
Kuna namba inapatiwana hapo ya agriculture officer. Unapiga, wanakupatia majibu.
All right.
Wanakuambia piga hiyo mmea picha watumie, wanaona ni brosomedrot, wanaona ama ni padremidiu, wanakuambia ile dawa utatumia na vile utafanya.
Safi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karanja. David in Roy.
Yes, morning, Eric.
How are you, David?
I'm fine.
Fine, or
Yeah.
fine?
Wow, first let me say, today nimefurahia sana kuingia kwa radio. I'm very much happy.
Karibu.
Yeah, so how are you guys? Let me ask you that.
Wewe, David.
How are you guys doing?
David.
Yes.
Tunataka kukuuliza hiyo swali.
Unataka kuniuliza hiyo swali?
Because ukituuliza how we are doing, tutakwambia si tuko sawa.
Nyinyi mko sawa?
Yeah, that's what we will tell you, but it doesn't mean tuko sawa. It just means we have told you tuko sawa.
Yeah. I understand. Okay, it's funny because I've been struggling with that question for a long time. The time I meet friends or how you doing?
Yep.
So at that moment, a lot goes through your mind, Nana.
Yep.
Like, how am I doing today? Like, how is it going?
Yeah.
If you could tell them what you're going through, it's a lot. They do not be interested to hear what you're really going through. Yeah, because it's been tough. It's been really, really tough. At times, I don't know what to say.
Things are tough.
Yes.
On what front, David?
Okay. For my instance, I'm a young parent,
Yep.
And what's been happening lately, like before COVID, there were a lot of aspirations, like what I want to do in life, like a life at college. But things have changed. COVID came, nilikuwa nataka kufanya kimaisha, like job, zimepotea, all of a sudden, your girlfriend is pregnant, you're expecting a kid. So inabidi sasa kutafuta hustle, a life that you never thought you could things that you never thought you could do, but you have to do them so that you can fend for yourself and for your family. So, kama saizi Eric, tumtele niko side za Ruai. Na hata nimejificha. I was just actually nilikuwa nimeweka earphone nikisikia ya conversation on the radio, but saizi hata niko mjengo. So I'm like, hata somo na kilipata nikiingia na simu.
Itakuwa shida.
Itakuwa shida, naona.
But it's what you're doing, what you can do.
Yeah.
And this is where you found the opportunity. You found the opportunity today, kazi kwa mjengo mahali. This is not you ever dreamed of doing. You were expecting something else. Graduate, get a job. Start a family.
Exactly. But let me just say this. Okay, maybe I may not contribute much to the conversation today. But I've been listening to you guys for like a month now, and you have changed my life in a big way. Like these are conversations that I've always wanted to have with people, but people are so busy they don't even have time to have conversations with other people. So like asubira nikitoka nikienda nisikiza radio, like I listen to you guys, I'm like, wow, these are the people who understand what I'm thinking, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, David. And we wish you all the best.
Thank
Keep at it, brother. Keep at it.
Karibu. Eric, one last thing.
Yes.
Okay, maybe this is opportunistic, but I'm an artist. This is what I trained in college, so me and do some other stuff. If you guys will be okay, niko na picha zenu nataka kuwatoa. Is that okay? I'm sorry for that, but
no, we'd like to see it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I'll do that.
We'd like to see it. Asante. We'd like to see it, David.
Okay. Thank you.
Asante.
Okay.
He says how he is.
He has actually said how he is, and what he is saying is a reflection of very many people in the country right now. Very many. People who are his peers, people who are older, people who are younger. And when someone tells you they're struggling, the positive side to that statement is that they haven't given up.
Yeah.
That's the positive side to it.
Yeah.
And when somebody says tunavumilia, they're telling you we have found a coping mechanism. We can see what's happening, but we are determined we are not going to be swallowed up by it. So this is what I'm going to do so that I can move along. But there's something I'd like to add here. It's a little perspective that is sometimes I found useful in considering issues. And you see, on the one hand, it's a dichotomous and fairly conflicting situation in that we all have aspirations and we have hopes, okay? And then, when you look at the quotient of disappointments, our disappointments are actually based on our hopes. So how do you hope and hope realistically? And then how do you deal with hope that has been dashed? But fundamental to it is, how do you ensure that the hopes you have are realistic? And when I say realistic, not only is it that it's achievable, you may be able to achieve it, but do your circumstances also conspire to enable you to achieve it? And if not, what do you need to do? Reality is sometimes rather difficult to grasp. Because like, if I'm suffering, that is my reality. But must I continue suffering? So what do I need to do? Do I accept the suffering as normal so that it doesn't pain me as much? Or do I accept it and try and find a way of moving out of it? What do I do?
You've got to do something about it.
Yes.
But as you're doing that, then you're also creating an image of what you'd like, right? Of the situation to be better. And for the situation to be better, it's dependent on other factors.
So many of which are outside your control.
Other circumstances aligning.
Yes.
Now, when you said having dreams and aspirations and then mirroring them with whether they are realistic or not.
Yes.
How do you do that? Because, I mean, that being realistic is all dependent on that.
Look at it this way. I was being told a story by my brother of a gentleman who used to sell him DVDs outside the Red Center. Very diligent young man. Now, once Netflix and Showmax came in, you know that story ended.
Yep.
But this gentleman had been saving. And he managed to buy a motorbike. Because he had realized, just working outside the Red Center, that now this is a guy who, if you told him he was hustling, realized somehow people need couriers.
Yep.
Many people do not want to necessarily do certain things. And then COVID came, and COVID now expanded that business.
Yeah.
Reality here was, I am selling DVDs, it's making money. Suddenly, the sales are going down. You ask, why is it going down? You realize what it is. But more importantly, this young man had the discipline of saving money. But he had an idea. I think his idea initially was to become a motorbike rider to carry people. Then he realized, no, this carrying people may be a bit tricky. But the courier work with the people who have been selling, if I can ask them, can I do? And he took the initiative and said, can I do this for you?
Yep.
Can I do this for you? Now, when somebody becomes reliable, what happens is, somebody recommends and says, I know I have somebody who does my courier work for me.
Word of mouth,
yeah,
quickly.
And he's reliable. Right. Yes. And you agree on what ought to be paid. Now, you asked me about reality. Reality is understanding that businesses by their very nature sometimes change. And being tuned to the fact. Now, many people, when things have been good, you are stuck on this one thing which was good, and you're unwilling to change and move to think of something else that could also be good. You're stuck. I am now a radio talk show host. I began my career as a high school teacher. My first degree was in education. I got into the research world. I am still in the research world, but I'm also a radio talk show host, which means some of the training and the experience I had as a teacher have come in handy. I talk a lot easier than most people because I talked for a living when I was teaching people.
Yeah.
As a researcher, you're forced to understand, read, and get facts into your head. So when you speak about something, you speak with the knowledge of, I can support this because I understand this.
Yeah.
So, accommodating change within a setup of a changing world. Many people get to a certain age, and as far as they're concerned, I need to retire and go home. That's a good thing. It's good to go home. You've been living in town most of your life. You're not even accustomed to that rural setting. Most of the friends that you knew at home are your age, but you are not accustomed to culture. Reality is, if you want to go home, start accustoming yourself to that culture before you retire. Long before you retire.
Yeah.
So on the day you actually go in retirement, there's nothing.
It's your second home.
Yes,
it's not a new home.
Yes, there's nothing you're adjusting to.
Yeah.
That is how you look at the reality of things.
Yes. How about when life just throws you that spanner?
My friend.
Like suddenly, like COVID comes, all right? You've just started this job. You've just graduated. You've started this job. COVID comes. Job goes. You just started a family. Your partner is expectant. Baby is coming.
That is where
more responsibility.
That is where now you need to have people you can talk to be honest. In an African setting, we often talk about the village and elders and what have you. But usually there'll be somebody who's gone through similar experiences and they're able to, just by talking about the experience, you might glean something from their experience.
This is it. Yes. And I think that's the thing about conversation.
Yes.
And that's the thing about sharing experiences. That you may not necessarily get an answer at that point. You may not necessarily get a solution. But what it does is that it would provide comfort, one, but then also it provides you with a different kind of outlook in terms of what you can then do. No, it's rare that you would find somebody say, okay, do this and it would work and then you go on. But what it does is that it would be able to then broaden your perspective. But then I'm also seeing a situation whereby the majority of people today, if having an honest conversation, are telling you all right, we're okay, but things are not the way in which we would hope that they would be.
Yeah.
The society is burdened today. Whether it's globally, whether it's, we're looking at it at a Kenya level, Africa level, at a Kenya level today, in your community, majority of society is burdened today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is no way that you will be able to develop properly with a burdened society. It is difficult.
That's true.
And there are things that must be done. The very basic minimum must be done. And in as much as we poke fingers at government a lot of times, when you have a society that is burdened in the manner in which it is today, that people cannot afford their own country, that people cannot afford a day. Let's look at it. People cannot afford a day of existence, of survival in this country. That either you have something that was not done, or you did it and that you owe on it. That is a very dangerous place to be in. That you owe on a day, that you did not meet on a day. And it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're living in the suburbs, whether you're living in the slums, right? You are not able to make a day without not doing what you wanted to do or having done it but owing on it. It's a very volatile place to be in. And if we're not seeing the burden right then that is on the people, or seeing the burden that is on the responsibility of government to make the environment conducive, if we cannot see that, we have a bigger problem, actually, than we are seeing. It's a much bigger problem. And then not addressing those issues, but talking about things that don't matter, even worse, compounding the problem even more. That you can get by from sunrise to sunset.
Yeah.
And you've not achieved, not because you didn't want to, but because you didn't have the wherewithal to do it. That's a very dangerous place to be in. And I think if we take cognizance of that fact, first of all, to realize that folks, we're in a bad place. What can we do about it? And I think that's where the conversation needs to be.
That's what the focus should be. Swasia says, things are not rosy. You get to this realization and you reach out 360 degrees for help and you realize you're all alone. This period is not a bed of roses. Wishing all your listeners a great day in their daily hustles. And then he continues to say, pray that your hustle makes the day go faster. Nikubaya. Watu wapambane na hali yao. If you're waiting for the government to bail you out, wake up. They are waiting to see your fuliza balance and claim their right. Nikubaya. You've got to deal with it. Deal with what we're saying. And what you've said, Ndu, is profound. Because as we're listening to our leaders, as they are coming around now, especially asking for our vote, That one issue of, do you understand me?
No, do you really understand?
Do you really understand me?
Yes. I mean, you think you do, you speak as though you do, but do you really?
Get it?
Do you actually get it?
Because it's still all top level. We're going to do this, we're going to do the other, we're going to do A, B, C, D. This whole issue of fuel prices should be addressed immediately. It's just talking at that top level. I'm referring to a tweet by the Deputy President the other day who was talking about this fuel prices issue. No, it's not right that tax should be this high. Deputy President.
Where are you?
Hey.
Where are you?
Remember, we said this a year and a bit ago, that when a habit is formed and then it becomes part and parcel of who you are. So how do you solve a problem? You talk at it. How do you highlight a problem? You talk about it. How do you provide solutions? You talk about it.
You blame someone.
Now,
that's how you provide a solution.
If you want to really provide a solution, you blame someone, as you correctly put it. You look for someone to blame and then pass the can down the road. You talk to Kenyans and they tell you, this one, it doesn't really matter. We'll just vumilia. What I think the leaders don't see, the leadership classes, instead of thanking their gods, the various gods that they pray to, on their knees for having a population of people who are amenable, who work hard, who are not really troublesome. And when they're troublesome, they just tweet. When they kick a big fuss, it's when really things are not moving and saying, folks, come on. Instead of seeking to actually do things that will change their lives, they seem hell-bent on making these lives worse. Hell-bent. And they think there'll be no consequences.
Yep. And because we're seeking something, just an exit, we take what they're telling us as entertainment. But we must connect. It's not entertainment.
No, it isn't.
What they're telling us is actually contributing to what we are going through today and what we'll be going through tomorrow. Kipkirui says, City is narrating a story close to my scenario. Life must go on.
Yes.
Kipkirui is at that point. Life, yes, I've been buttered left, right, and center, but life must go on.
It has to go on. And even that bad situation will not last forever. That is the truth. But the problem is just getting through it. That is usually the difficult thing. How do you get through? How do you overcome this? Because if you overcome today, then you can face the new day and say, okay, let's see how we can overcome today.
Yeah.
And hopefully that day will become a week when you've overcome a week.
But you see, that's where now you need support in overcoming, in dealing with it. You need other things to work.
You do.
You need other things to work.
You need some victories every once in a while. Otherwise, it's daunting. It's depressing.
That's why the old saying something's got to give at some point. Something's got to give. Because like this, you're looking at explosion or implosion.
You can't endure forever.
No.
Really.
No. Thank you very much for your contribution to the show this morning by calling in, by sending your comments on social media. See you again tomorrow. It'll be Friday. It'll be the 15th of October. City Muga, today's proverb again.
When you are given some stew and you add water, you must be wiser than the cook. Yes.
Unajiona wewe ndio unajua sana.
Ukuje kwa jikoni basi.
Si ukuje upike basi.
Yes.
Si ungesema upike. Thank you for tuning into the Situation Room today. Have a lovely day, folks. It's now 10 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is News on Dennis Assetto. 3 police officers have been arrested after self-confessed serial killer Martin Milimo Wanjala escaped from the Jogoo Road police station in unclear circumstances. Police have since launched intensified search for Milimo, the main suspect in the murder of 13 children. Wanjala confessed to killing the children in various parts of Nairobi and Bungoma County. We continue to ask how Wanjala, who was detained for so long, disappeared from the police station without being noticed by the officers on duty. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta is today meeting his U.S. counterpart President Joe Biden at White House and are expected to discuss how to further promote democracy, civil rights and tackle climate change. According to a statement issued by the White House, President Kenyatta and Joe Biden are expected to discuss in detail the Pandora Papers expose and the need to establish transparency in financial investments among various nations. Now, former NAT Secretary General Wilson Sossion has blamed the Jubilee government for cracking down on teachers' unions. In an interview with KTN News, Sossion claimed that the Jubilee leadership has been using some members of the teachers' unions to stir up